If we could come to order here. We'd like to start the meeting. Are you ready to go? Yes, sir. Okay. So we will officially call this meeting to order at 6:33. And first, roll call.
Councilmember Lyons.
Here.
Councilmember San Antonio.
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Deputy Mayor O'Hara.
Present.
Mayor Ehlers.
Here.
Record will show all members of the City Council are present tonight.
And if you can rise, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, today the next item is special presentations and proclamations. We have two presentations. The first one is a presentation of proclamation declaring April 18th, 2026, Arbor Day in the city of Encinitas, and accepting it will be our Parks and Rec Department, led by Dave Knopp, Dave Norgard, Ed Drabinicki. Tim, boy, you guys have to have hard to pronounce names, didn't you? You just had to go there. Tim, how do you pronounce it, Tim? Beliveau, thank you. And Bob Keeley, thank you for an easy name. Let's see. And Dave, are you prepared to say a few words? I will absolutely hand you the microphone when I'm done. I will read the proclamation and then hand the microphone to Dave. Arbor Day Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morgan proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas the holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is celebrated nationally in April to encourage Americans to maintain and replenish our country's orchards and woodlands, and whereas in California we observe Arbor Day in recognition of famed horticulturalist Luther Burbank, a native from Massachusetts who brought experimental plant breeding to California. His life's labor produced hundreds of plants and trees that have contributed to the natural splendor and food production in our state. And whereas trees provide shade and beauty, our homes and beautify our homes, neighborhoods and communities, increase property values, enhance economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community and are enjoyed by everyone. And whereas trees decorate our landscape with rich colors, textures, and shapes, and they provide vital stability to our ecosystem by improving water and air quality, provide habitats for animals and plant life, prevent flooding and erosion, and whereas in Encinitas, trees are highly regarded and valued by the community, and wherever they are planted are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, I, Bruce Ehlers, Mayor of the City of Encinitas, along with all the council members, proclaim April 18th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of Encinitas. Yeah, hand it to you, and then I'll shake your hand. I'll give you the mic.
Thank you. And I would prefer to speak this way than instead of reading. You did a great job, much better than me. I have a great team here. Our parks supervisors are all certified arborists. They take their job very, very seriously and want to make sure our parks look fantastic, which I think we do a fantastic job doing. We snuck in and brought in some trees. That'll be part of our Arbor Day celebration going into the ground. These are native. They are very popular with our bee population for pollinators. You've got a goldenberry toyon, hopefully I said that right, over here, the taller tree, and then a western red bud behind me here. And they'll be out at Arbor Day on the 18th. We'll be holding that at Hawkview Park. We invite you all to come out, plant some trees with us, learn some things about the environment, and come out and have a good time. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, if the council will come down and join us for a photo. And the next item is a presentation on technology showcase, accessing city data. And we have Director of IT, Jessica Contreras, presenting.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council, and community. We're really pleased to be here tonight. I'm joined by Ubaldo Raboni, our Senior IT Analyst, as well as Kevin Highland, Senior GIS Analyst, and both of them have been very instrumental in bringing data to you to analyze at home. We have some new things to share. So data is an asset for the city and for each of you, as well as for city staff. As part of our council objectives this year, we really looked at what data we have presented to the public and where we can improve and expand on that data and how we share it. So we looked at how we can share it in different and the best and most effective ways. This process started working with departments citywide to inventory all of our data. And once we did that, we developed a data transparency roadmap, which is a plan for us to really just improve the amount of data that we're able to share with you. And what we're going to show you today is a new portal and a new way of accessing information that we hope you find is easy to use. There are two primary types of data in the city. One is geographic information systems, and that's data that really can be mapped and is location-based. That information is critical for the city because we have so many attributes of data that can be mapped. Then we have another type of data, and that's the type of data you're used to seeing in spreadsheets or in black and white reports, and it's not always the easiest to understand and analyze. So we really took the time this year to improve upon that. This is an example of our geographic information open data portal, and some of you may have used it in the past. It's really valuable for finding information such as where our utilities are located, information about parcels, information about both above and below ground assets. This is an example of the data catalog that lists all of our GIS information that is available to the public. This is an example of a map that shows city-owned parcels. We are constantly growing the number and types of data sets that we have available. And one of the things that we've been doing is really trying to preserve information that we can use in the future. Kevin Highland developed this application, and this is a way that we're capturing history through the use of data. And it's what you're seeing in front of you is the Birmingham sidewalk in Cardiff. And it is modeled in 3D, so you can download 3D models of the different panels if you're interested. And no matter what happens to that sidewalk in the future, now there is a digital representation of that sidewalk that will continue over time. I'd also like to share, this is the newest tool that we're introducing. It's called our Data Stories and Insights portal, and you don't have to be a data analytics specialist to use it. We have how-to videos presented so you can see how to get to the data, as well as a really useful area where you can recommend data sets. So we don't have everything presented. We're growing this over time. But if there's something that's really important to you, please recommend it, and we can look at adding it. What we're doing through this is taking those spreadsheets and all of that data that historically used to be harder to use, translating it into infographics such as charts, graphs, and maps, and also adding information that kind of explains what that data is. So what you're seeing before you is real-time data from the My Encinitas app on where requests are coming from, what departments are resolving those requests, how many are opened on different days. For example, you can really see when it's rainy out, how many more work orders or requests are opened. And that is available now for you to use. This is another example of a dashboard where we're using real-time business registration information to share data. And what I wanted to let everybody know is you can download this data in the raw data format, and you can do analysis on your own with the information, which is new and very valuable. We also have now our comprehensive data catalog of the data that is being shared, and we are continuing to grow on that. And you can look up information, you can look through information, and then if you click any of those items, you can view both the raw data and you can create infographics on your own of that information. Because the city's data quantity changes with time, every day we get more data to steward, more data to share. So we're constantly evolving our tools. Right now we're working with public safety, both fire and the sheriff, on public safety data sets, and we're working with our public information officer on those. We're also working on an enhanced climate action dashboard, and we're continuously evolving the amount of infrastructure data that we capture and share. And then we also, new as of today, have the ability where you can recommend data sets. So we really would appreciate if there are things that you'd like to see, please put that in there and we can see if we have that data and then if we can and share that information. We're here today to answer any questions you may have, and we thank you for telling us really what your needs are and for using the data, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Just one question is, how much of this is available to the public via the website?
100% of what you saw today is online. UB even added it to the main banner within the website. If you go on our main screen and go to our public information requests and data tab, you can drill through there and see the myriad of data tools that we have, and you will be able to see that there today, as well as the Birmingham Sidewalk application.
Yeah, and I know the GIS has been invaluable to me over the years. Even before I ended up here, there's so much capability and knowledge there. You can see where the road right-of-ways are, the who owns the where the street is actually versus your property, that type of stuff. So, any other Deputy Mayor O'Hara?
I just was curious if the third slide I think you put up, is that the representation of what it will look like to the user on our website, or what does it look like, and how easy have we made the interface?
It's incredibly easy to use, and that is what it looks like. I'm going to let UB, do you want to share a little bit about the interface?
Sure. So it'll be presented as a searchable catalog, which will continuously be expanding. We're just getting started. And there'll be some web pages where we tell a story. And while we're narrating that story, it'll have like charts, and it'll have visuals with explanations. And some of those visuals and dashboards, you can say like go back a year or look at a quarter or go, so it'll have like a timeline to some of them. Let's see. But essentially, what we want to offer is a catalog that the public can browse, and dashboards they can look at, and trends they can explore, and data they can download.
I love it. Will there be like a test or pilot mode of it, like at the community center, for people to come in to scroll through it, give feedback on it, and let us build on it? You're doing a fantastic job with this, and I want to see people comfortable using it.
Yes, I think we can also leverage our Encinitas Academy and share it through there, and then where they can provide us with feedback in real time as well.
It's great. It's amazing to see things moving forward, and every time you come, we can deliver more and more to the public. It's fantastic. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, we will move on to oral comments. How many oral comments do we have?
We have 17 speakers under oral communication tonight.
Okay, so we'll do 2 minutes tonight, but we'll do all 17 together rather than bifurcated 15 and 2. So,
And just a reminder, oral communications is the opportunity to speak on any item that is not on the agenda tonight. And the first three speakers, Teresa Beauchamp, followed by Miriam Babaki, and then Katie Papaniak.
Good evening, members of the council. Teresa Beauchamp, District 2. I'm here tonight to address a narrative being circulated by city officials and some residents that my opposition to the use of racial slurs on social media is politically motivated for the upcoming election. I would like to set the record straight. Values are not seasonal. Advocacy for human dignity does not have an election cycle. Fighting discriminatory language isn't supporting an opponent. It is upholding basic standards of conduct expected of any public servant. The reality of our neighbors, framing my advocacy for upholding the Title VI Civil Rights Resolution as campaign leverage insults the lived experience of our Black American neighbors. My presence here isn't about who wins a seat. It's about who is being left behind by the policy this council enacts. A call for accountability. If this council is concerned that my critiques benefit political rivals, the solution is simple. Change the behavior. If you don't want to be called out for racial slurs, do not use them and hold officials accountable when they do. Characterizing dissent as propaganda is a convenient way to avoid answering for one's own record. I am here as a 38-year resident of Encinitas and a member of the Encinitas West African Dance and Drum Community for 15 years, and I will continue working towards a more welcoming Encinitas, whether it's an election year or not. Thank you.
Dear Council, my name is Miriam Babaki, and we've been 16-year residents of this great city. This is the first time I'm coming before you to raise a matter in the processing of an application that has baffled and frankly angered myself and my neighbors that have been affected by it. My neighbors and us live in a community that has tennis courts and our homes either back to the course or near it. 5 years ago, the association board converted the course to pickleball without any votes and for 5 years ignored our complaints about the tremendous disruption to our lives. Encinitas is quite familiar with the huge noise and nuisance impacts of pickleball, as you heard from neighbors at Bobby Riggs just last year. We finally looked at permit requirements and found the city major use permit does not allow the association to unilaterally convert the courts. The matter was then referred to the code enforcement and the planning staff about 6 months ago. During this period, we reached out to the planning staff through emails and phone calls numerous times to ensure they take the impacts to us into consideration. These are the copies of the emails that we sent asking about the status and that we kept in the loop as they processed the application. Each time we asked for a meeting, and each time we were assured that there will be a planning commission hearing for a major use permit modification and that we can state our case at that time. So imagine our shock when, as part of the routine check last week, the response of the planner was, I have determined that the application is in substantial conformance and there will not be a hearing. So the decision was made by the planning staff. The hearing for a major use permit was bypassed, the permit was issued, and we were kept completely out of the process and not even notified. Can one in Encinitas modify a major use permit without a hearing, without any notification, when clear and completely known environmental and use impacts are known, and when we just heard from tens of residents about the horrendous impacts? We found out that the planning staff had spent many, many hours with the applicant, but they did not afford us even 1 hour to hear from us, and then unilaterally determined
thank
the
you.
hearing.
Yeah, and sorry, I have to be fair to everybody. 2 minutes, but what I will do is refer you to staff, and if you can leave your contact information, have staff get it to us too, to the council. So, like email and whatnot. If you can make sure that they've got it. Yeah, and to the city manager, but also I'd like to see it personally too.
Can I ask
I'm
what
sure the rest
neighborhood?
of the council would too.
May I ask what neighborhood it was or what HOA?
Yes, Cantabria.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Katie Papaniak, 42-year resident of Encinitas. Beautiful night tonight. I'm here to thank the sheriffs for the Know Your Limits DUI awareness event downtown. I really thought that was tremendous, what I read about it. I'm deciding maybe this pair of glasses. I've got two. Sorry. Anyway, I do work with San Diego Alliance for Drug-Free Youth. I did forget to say that as well. That was such an important educational event. And I just can't believe when I see on the news that there are people that get 3 DUIs and they still kill people. It's just frightening to me. So I think that was a great thing that our sheriffs did. I really want to thank Mayor Ehlers for his participation in the County Tobacco-Free Coalition meeting today. It is called Advancing Smoke-Free Outdoor Public Places. I know it's a busy, busy week with today and tomorrow being the state of the city, so that was very kind of you. As we approach Earth Day or Arbor Day, these policies are important for public health and to protect our environment. This policy in Encinitas came about after 20 years of community members working to restrict smoking on beaches, in restaurants, and in the workplace. The Encinitas City Council, including Joy and Bruce, and the staff, and the Environmental Commission were key in the adoption of the No Smoking in Public Places ordinance here. The emphasis was on how harmful cigarette butts are to the environment because they are plastic and do not biodegrade. I would like to see Encinitas take this a step further and, like Carlsbad, opt for an ordinance that protects residents of apartments and condos from second and third-hand smoke of all kinds, including vapes and cannabis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next 3 speakers, Dave Dean, followed by Trina Priest, and then Beth Whitaker.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. Dave Dean, and a few quick comments. First, the spring egg hunt this past weekend was amazing. The way it was put together with the paramedics, the police, the Parks and Rec, and the 500 to 1,000 kids that had the time of their life. Well organized, well put together, and had a great time. Secondly, I want to commend and thank you for looking beyond what the book says on fixing a pothole and finding a way to get it done. When it comes to safety first, it really means safety first, not following a book that's outdated or antiquated, but taking care of safety first. You probably saved the life of a kid or somebody getting seriously hurt. So thank you for doing the right thing.
Good evening, Mayor Ehlers and Encinitas City Council. I'm Trina Priest, a middle school teacher and a mother of 3 teens. Here in our county, the average age of initiation of alcohol marijuana use in San Diego County is the age of 12. Remember, this is the average, so alcohol marijuana can and does begin earlier. Addiction is a pediatric onset disease, so preventing the initiation of harmful marijuana use cannot be underestimated. Youth lack the information necessary to understand the ramifications of drug use in general. When I think of the reason why that is, I notice that the messaging around them is all too close to home. Social media, of course, and their presence of marijuana storefronts and the delivery services and now the large billboards. Together, they mute the messaging of drug use and its negative consequences. So I have been concerned about the pot shops, the cake house, the Walgreens, because they in particular now have really large billboards in Leucadia. If children grow up in communities where alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana businesses are common, their perception of risk of using those drugs will be muted. Youth cannabis use generates decreased cognitive function, impacts on attention, memory, learning and educational vocational attainment, and increases adverse effects on mental health for our young people. Only pot profiters have benefited from their existence in Encinitas. Youth, families, teachers, and law enforcement have not benefited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here to speak to council and our community. Some of the most powerful ways to resist authoritarianism are to speak locally to the existence of resistance movement and to participate in local government. It's important for vulnerable neighbors to know we're out here protesting and resisting against tyranny. Those with privilege who don't rise up are accountable to their own sense of humanity, and I to mine. Other ways to resist Christian nationalist oligarchy include contacting legislators, demonstrating in the streets, and boycotting companies that profit from tyranny. If you want to contact legislators, there's an app called 5 Calls that makes it easy. I'm not here representing any organization or party. I'm your neighbor here announcing that we are not standing down to a white supremacist Christian nationalist regimes dissolving separation of power in our U.S. government and lining their pockets through cruelty. I'm also here to repeat myself to say we deserve a council standing by us, not against us, or trying to ride some fence. Your social media fan club calls me vicious and denigrating for speaking here at this podium, and there's nothing I can do about that, except to say that I am not your enemy, and I speak here as a lover of freedom and have no hate toward you. I want you to prove me wrong when I call you the male council here MAGA. Again, I ask male council to publicly support or denounce MAGA and say it with your chest and look us in the eye. Thank you.
Next 3 speakers, Scott Campbell, followed by Sheila Cameron, and then Rachel Lishaw.
That was just awful. Thank you, council, for being here and putting up with all the citizens. First, I'd like to express my thanks for the city and their lawn mowing with their giant truck on La Casa Boulevard, Piraeus, and Plato. It's really improved the bikeability and not getting hit by branches and stickers. There used to be bumper stickers. Skateboarding is not a crime. But when things become a problem, we have to deal with it. And this is kind of a joke, but we might have to ban pickleball. It's become controversial. On that budget thing, I was kind of surprised about the Surfline presentation. I hadn't heard about that, and it was pretty interesting. But bottom line, they should be paying us. And if not, break it down into cameras, data, and visualization. I'm willing to pay for visualization. That costs money. They should pay us for the cameras. And that data is city property, and we should at least get a license on it because they're going to reuse that for training and other things. And let's not just give it away. I also heard some nice jockeying between D3, D2, and maybe D1 on parking. I heard about the overlook at Swami's and the dips, and it is car breaker. And then I heard a challenge on across the street from Panikin, and I heard $90,000 to fix dirt to cement. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, but we need to fix this because part of the agreement with the train tracks and the fences and all that other controversial stuff is we have to maintain that. Now, even more importantly to me, I live in Leucadia, and those are even worse. And we have people parking in non-parklets, and it's 6 inches, 4 inches, cars are getting hurt, and then they're driving on the rocks or the tracks, and we should do something about that. And otherwise, thank you for all the business commissioners that are here. 1 out of 8 is competitive. Thank you.
Good evening. You know, this is Sheila Cameron. The Scots and the Camerons and the Campbells are very competitive in Scotland, but we get along fine here. All right. For those of you who have received this, it has been sent out to everyone, I think, in the state. It talks about sign now to stop Sacramento politicians from taxing your personal property. BS, not true. Sign the California Retirement and Savings Protection Act. If you get this, throw it away. because all it is asking you to do is sign a petition to get initiative on the ballot. The only people it helps are the billionaires. The billionaires are being asked by a federal legislation to pay 5% on their billions and billions. They pay less taxes percentage-wise than anybody in this room. And they don't want to pay another 5%, which would do tremendous things for everybody. I listened to the news from Maine this morning, of all places, and I also pay attention to what's going on in California, of course. But all the governors are afraid that if they tax the billionaires, they'll leave the state. What's the federal legislation? What state are they going to go to? So for God's sakes, vote for what Bernie Sanders has come up with, 5% tax on the billionaires. Let them pay a fraction of what they should be paying, because the rest of us are carrying the load and it's getting a little heavy. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel LaShaw, and I'm a part of the Encinitas West African dance community. I'm speaking for the fourth time to shed light on Mr. Haubeck's post from February 13th. We've already covered that the post was hurtful, ignorant, callous, at best racially insensitive, and at worst outright racist. Some people think that we should let this go and just chalk it up to incendiary ramblings on social media. Some say that we have dragged Haubeck's name through the mud enough and that the town does not need to hear about this anymore. But for the mayor, council, everyone in this room, and everyone watching on YouTube, what if your family's race or culture was the one targeted? I'm Jewish, and it's impossible to forget an anti-Semitic comment. Would you be able to forget? How would you feel knowing that your offender is in the government and that he's being protected despite everyone knowing what he stands for? Our black neighbors deserve protection. The reality is that there are fewer black residents in Encinitas, but that does not make it okay to sweep this under the rug. On February 26th, Mayor Ehlers came out to speak to our group after the oral comments. He seemed concerned, he shook our hands, he passed out his business card, and we all felt hopeful. But I've called the mayor's office 4 times to arrange a meeting, and I have not gotten a call back. I would like to know why this has not been agendized. Why is Haubeck being protected? He's not even appointed to a full term. What is the reason that this council cannot bring themselves to vote on this issue? Surely you all have opinions on it, and hopefully you're not ashamed of your opinions. It's time to agendize and vote on whether or not Mr. Haubeck is fit to serve Encinitas. Thank you.
Next 3 speakers, David Weinbaum, followed by Don Ionescu, and then Natalie Muth.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Deputy Mayor. I'm Dave Weinbaum. I'm a resident of District 4. I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank you for standing up to the developers and on L7 and Sage Canyon. It's time that the developers need to submit their plan as is and then don't come asking for revision and revision and revision. Change orders are expensive. Charge them for them if they do it, but you can't give them breaks. It's really important. Number one, or next thing is, no to the CRC. They cannot expand downtown. They are a blight now to the city. They've outgrown, they've evolved past being where they are. If downtown Encinitas is to be a vibrant community, they have to go. They can do that. They can actually open up housing area now because of that property could be vacated and they can move their services somewhere else. They can still do their work to help the domestic violence victims and so forth. I think that has to be done. They've outgrown it. And if Diane Cutlow is here, please ask Senator Blake Spear and all the assembly members to start writing legislation to unwind all of these onerous, unmanageable, unrealistic housing mandates. It's just, they can't be done, and legislation needs to be submitted for that. So I recommend that be done. And then, like Scott said, Surfline has to pay. You should not pay them. That is data that they're taking from us. They should pay rent for the cameras. They should pay for every bit of data, every byte of data that goes out. That's money that the city should capture. It's ours. Do not pay them to make more money off of us. Thank you guys for all you're doing. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Dr. Dawn Ionescu. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist with over 15 years of experience in researching patients with depression, bipolar disorder, and suicidality. I'm here to respectfully urge the city to pursue a full quiet zone in North Leucadia rather than relying solely on wayside train horns, as this approach best balances rail safety, community well-being, and long-term public health outcomes. Wayside train horns are not safe for people at close and repeated exposures to the noise. This is based on published medical research. We just spent the last part of the meeting discussing the importance of using research from the Surfline data to help us understand how our shores are changing. I encourage us to apply the same rigor to the idea of the train horn blasts that will be occurring with the wayside train horns in the North Leucadia corridor. Horns blast at about 90 decibels at minimum for the wayside train horns. This is enough to cause damage to human hearing. Chronic exposure to this noise negatively impacts sleep, learning, attention, behavior, as well as heart health. Children and the elderly are especially at risk. I just want to mention that North Leucadia is actually a very diverse neighborhood within Encinitas. There's a very large range of socioeconomic groups that live in that neighborhood. It was mentioned by a previous speaker that if you don't like the noise, just move. But unfortunately for many people, that's actually not an option. Many of the people that live in the blast areas are actually part of families with small children. Every blast of this horn potentially changes their brain, and over the chronic long-term time of experiencing this train horn, this can lead to enduring damage, not just for children, but also their families. As we discussed at the last meeting, many of these members have thankfully committed on this council and are quoted to have been committed to developing a quiet zone, and I thank you for that.
Following Natalie, it'll be Marlon Taylor, Beth Taylor, and then Bob Ayers.
Hi, Council. My name is Dr. Natalie Muth. I'm a board-certified pediatrician and Northwest Leucadia resident. As I shared at the budget meeting, I oppose the at-grade crossings at Phoebe and Grandview Street because they will be creating 2 brand-new train horn blast zones, even while we're working on having a quiet zone for the rest of town. This means there will be 648 blasts per day, given there are 54 trains that pass 4 horns per train and 3 crossings in Northwest Leucadia. For those who don't know, these trains come day and night, wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, and then at 6 again. Proceeding as planned without a quiet zone in place first is proceeding against medical advice. The medical stakes are significant for the people of Northwest Leucadia who live near these crossings. Beyond direct hearing injury, which results from 92 decibels, which is the wayside horns, they are not quiet, to 110 decibels, which is what we have now and will have at the onset of the at-grade crossings. In addition to the hearing loss, there's increased risk of heart disease, fatal and non-fatal heart attack, heart failure, and stroke, 6% increased risk of diabetes per 5 decibel increase in ambient noise, 3-fold greater odds of significant sleep disruption compared to other traffic noise surfaces, even at 40 decibels, impaired cognitive development, lower reading comprehension, and elevated stress markers in children, and depression and anxiety with prolonged exposure. These are consensus findings of the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Cardiology, and the World Health Organization, not isolated studies, and I did submit to you a public health briefing with the references. The AAP has formally designated excessive environmental noise as an under-recognized serious public health issue, and this is what this council is planning to proceed with. Children are uniquely vulnerable, they cannot remove themselves from the exposure, and the neurological and cardiovascular effects are cumulative over years of development. Residents of Northwest Leucadia who have advocated for at-grade crossings may not fully understand that absent a quiet zone, what they are getting is a permanent source of noise. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. The Urban Forest Advisory Committee is supposed to be made up of community members with a real interest in and understanding of urban forestry. This group works with city arborists to review plans and policies related to trees, the Urban Forest Management Program, and the Administrative Manual. In other words, this is not a ceremonial body. It is supposed to provide informed input on an issue that matters deeply to this community, as was on display at the beginning of the session. And yet, when you look at the appointments, the problem is obvious. Laura Lizauskas brings landscape design experience. Matthew Altman has a career in horticulture. Mark Jenny is a former tree commissioner and volunteer naturalist. Tony Gurno has a career in horticulture. Brad Lefkowitz has landscape design experience. Then there's Stephen Hoback, an attorney with no clear experience in urban forestry. You also appointed another person whose apparent qualification was that they know how to do a tree pose. That would be funny if it were not so revealing. And I understand that elections have consequences. I understand that the majority gets to make the appointments. But when your words about good governance do not line up with your actions, people notice. For many Encinitas residents, trees, open space, and urban forestry are serious issues. So when you appoint people without relevant professional or volunteer experience to a body that requires real knowledge, you're sending a message. You're signaling that expertise does not matter and that this committee is not being treated with the seriousness that it deserves. And when you add in the firestorm surrounding one of these appointees, along with your silence, it only makes that message louder.
Thank you.
Evening. On February 13th, 2026, about 48 hours after standing before you and about 48 hours after you appointed him to the UFAC committee, Stephen Hoback made this public post. Superintendent Ann Staffieri of SDUHSD recently sent an email to parents containing a video the students were shown depicting Black contributions to American history. The video shows numerous scenes of Blacks dressed in tribal gear and banging on drums. Now, this is my fourth time coming up here and talking about this, but let's be clear, this is not what Dr. Staffieri was sharing with parents. She was sharing a student-created event put together entirely by high school students, but that is what Mr. Hoback chose to see and what he chose to repeat publicly. You know by now how many people found those words offensive. So the question is simple. How do you feel about them? After criticism, Mr. Hoback posted again, saying Dr. Staffieri's email was derogatory toward the Black community and that she was exhibiting soft racism. Nothing like doubling down. But Dr. Staffieri's email denigrated no one. No one in the Black community was publicly complaining about her message. Stephen Hoback was. So again, a simple question. Do you believe Dr. Staffieri was being racist? Then after dozens of people came here to express their anger, Mr. Hoback offered a statement. I do regret any harm this may have caused to members of my community. May have caused, not I was wrong, not I am sorry, not accountability, not repair. So I ask you plainly, do you believe that came anywhere close to an apology? Because this matters. When someone is appointed to represent this city, the public deserves to know whether this council sees these comments as acceptable, excusable, or disqualifying. I'm asking you to do something, please.
The February incident that we're all talking about, Mr. Hoback, was not an isolated incident. It fits a pattern of his. In June of 2022, Mr. Hoback posted, "Public employees have no accountability. Customer service to them is a joke." At that time, he was commenting about the firing of our high school superintendent, an event that deeply hurt this community. That superintendent was an African-American woman. In June 2020, he ridiculed EUSD Superintendent Dr. Andre Gray for integrating anti-racist education after the murder of George Floyd. George Floyd, of course, an African-American man. In September 2020, Mr. Hubeck posted this about Marlon Taylor, who was later honored right here by the City Council. Mr. Hubeck wrote, "Watch out for this guy. He's running for Encinitas School Board. He's part of that left-wing radical group that is stirring up trouble in Encinitas. Please vote for Matt Wheeler for EUSD, not people who want to sexualize children or indoctrinate them." These are the words of Mr. Hubeck. Mr. Taylor, of course, is an African American. In other posts, Mr. Hubeck referred to Mr. Taylor as having a low IQ and being a disgrace. In April 2025, he called protesters in Encinitas Marxist. In January of this year, he referred to people demonstrating in Encinitas. Do any of these people have jobs, he wrote? And just days ago, after he called all of this his learning opportunity, he gave a thumbs up to an online comment calling Mr. Taylor a ding-dong school board member. This was just a couple days ago. We know what thumbs up means for Mr. Hubeck. This is not growth. This is not reflection. This is not learning. He has learned nothing. My question to you is simple. Have you?
Final two speakers, Ellen Burr and then Jessica Finley.
Good evening, Council. Commissions. We have created a lot of commissions over the years. Scott has done a good job of showing how there's great overlap, redundancy. That also happens with the city departments. What I observed is that there appears to be a lack of protocol that is consistent regarding commissions, their operation, and how they are connected or deal with the city. Too many times in the past year, that's the Youth, Environmental, UFAC, Parks and Rec, Senior, and Business Commissions either have received a work plan, an agenda, or a mandate, and then have come back and been rejected. Either it wasn't heard, it was rejected outright, or it was never heard. So please, if you're going to have a commission and you want them to do stuff and you want their input, please allow them to present their information and not just blow it off. Part of the problem, I believe, is that you have a disconnect between where your budget cycle is and when the commission cycle is. Commissions, their terms end in February. Not everybody leaves, but they end in February. Waiting until May for them to issue a report is too late because some of those people have already gone, and it's too late to get anything into the budget cycle. So you need to be having them give a presentation before everybody leaves in February of the status of their work plan and have their year end the end of February so it can slot into the budget for the coming year. Thank you. I had more. Sorry.
I have to take all my glasses so I can't see anything. Good evening. Mayor and council members, my name is Jessica Findley, and I live in Leucadia, right next to Leucadia Donuts, a dangerous place to live if you love donuts. But what's actually more dangerous is an at-grade rail crossing. I'm here as a mother of two little ones, a Leucadia business owner, and a neighbor who deeply cares about the future of this community. You just heard from two doctors about the health impacts of the repeated train horn blasts on sleep, stress, and overall well-being. That's going to affect my whole family and everybody around us. Under the current plan, those horn blasts could increase dramatically, 648 blasts per day. I would like to offer you all a stay at the Surf House in Leucadia, just so you can feel what is that like to hear just the four horns that are currently happening. That's just, see how your sleep goes just for that amount of time. I've stayed there once. It was painful, even with the sound machines. I'm sorry to the people who own it. When you live near those horn blasts, and multiply by hundreds, you can imagine what the families are going to go through. I don't really want to be here, but if you can tell, my heart's beating like crazy, but I really do care about this. Northwest Leucadia is especial because it's peaceful. Families live here. People work from home. Visitors come here to enjoy the quiet coastal atmosphere. Our small business and tourism depend on that. This also represents a noise tax on the residents of Leucadia. Studies show that excessive noise greater than 65 decibels has a mangrove impact on home equator values in the range of 14 to 18%. Residents will be forced to seek tax reassessments, and ultimately this results in lower tax revenue for the city of Encinitas. And while horns are meant to improve safety, this at-grade is a problem. They create permanent conflict between trains, cars, cyclists, surfers, and pedestrians. At-grade separated crossings, such as putting it underground, removes the danger entirely.
That concludes the oral communication for tonight.
Okay, and we did not have a closed session, so there is no report from closed session. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda, and moving to the consent calendar, no items have been removed by members of the public.
And does anybody on the council want to pull any? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt consent.
A motion to adopt consent.
Second. Okay, I've got a motion and a second for the consent calendar. Call the question.
You're good. You did well. You did good.
Very well said.
Yes.
So I think go ahead and vote. Well, no.
That motion carries unanimously and takes us to item 10A.
Okay, item 10A. We're moving to, this is City Council to hear from applicants and make appointments to the Parks and Recreation Committee to fill one unscheduled vacancy, to hear from the Public Health and Safety Commission to fill one unscheduled vacancy, and the Senior Commission to fill one unscheduled vacancy. And I don't believe,
It's me.
the city clerk has any staff report? Do we have a staff
I do,
report?
very briefly. Just like we did in February, this is just kind of an overlap of that. We have 3 vacancies that we're looking to fill with partial terms, so obviously that's a good thing, so your terms won't count towards a full term. And we'll start with the Parks and Recreation Commission. And then did you guys want me to call up each commission separately, the applicants, and then go from there? How do
I would recommend we do that. Why
Okay.
don't we do Parks and Rec first and then move down?
For the Parks and Rec Commission, the first applicant is Brianna Burgos. Are you present? Kimberly Evers was not able to attend, but she did send public comment. Dan Hare, are you present? Okay. Ari Harkoff, are you? William Hart? You're up.
Hi, thank you for having us back. I appreciate it. I've got about 30 years of management and finance experience, and I have an MBA.
Wait, tell you what, we've got an echo going on. We'll go back to 3 minutes let's fix the audio so we're not trying to hear through the echo. And I'll keep talking until you get it fixed. Something just changed, right? It was fine. Yeah. And then, so you'll get your full 3 minutes. We just got to get our AV working correctly. Do you need us to keep? That sounds.
Farther back.
Does that sound better? Can you hear me in the back? And nobody moved way in the back though. It's good. Okay.
I wonder. Okay. Yeah.
You think we're good? Yeah. Give it a try. Okay. Go.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Like I had said, I've got about 30 years of experience in management and finance. I have an MBA. I own my own business, a restaurant for 10 years, owned and operated. And then I worked about 20 years initiating and managing programs for community colleges. And those programs might be something like new fields of study, equipment purchases to expand existing operations, new occupational trade areas. While I was there, obviously the computer world started, so many new programs in that area. In all my work, it was essential to know the investments in both dollars and people. The cost-benefit analysis was always key. Accurate financial projections were the cornerstone of all the projects. The other key to success was working with and gaining the support of other entities. Might be businesses, might be other college administration areas, department chairs, city departments, the public at large. But these coordinations, these entities were vital because through them we get more funding possibly. We might have shared space, shared equipment, and expanded services. Very important to work together. So these financial management and coordinating skills will be important to the Parks and Recreation Commission, I believe. Entwined in all the discussions regarding skate parks, whether they be expanded or add new ones, community parades and social activities, new park developments, city-owned land, what do we do with them? And it's important that we understand that evaluating which potential use of our funds will have the greatest benefit to Encinitas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next applicant, Stacy Kalmanovitz. Okay. Robert Morong. Autumn Wortman. That concludes Parks and Rec Commission applicants that are.
Okay. Do we want to go through and I think we'll just get them, just do this one and do the selection. So, no, I don't disclose as far as. No. And I think the other thing I'll note is that many of these same candidates already talked to us in the previous round. This is an unscheduled, so we've talked to quite a few people already in a public meeting here about the previous one. So with that, it's great having this much interest, and it's too bad that we're back here so quickly, but that is part of the nature of the game, and we'll be back here again. So obviously we have more people than we have slots, and what I would say is please stick around, be involved, even if you don't get selected. And I've seen people here, and I think the person I'm going to nominate, and I think this is for the mayor to nominate, is Dan Hare. And that's because he has been involved, and he's been down here quite often talking about parks. He's just about adopted Cottonwood Creek Park as his own, not domain, but just he cares so much about it. So that's my nomination for Parks and Rec. Like I say, we've got great people to choose from here, but we got to make a choice. And I would and I'll tell the same story, and I'll promise not to go long. I stood up here in 1987 and put in for Traffic Commission and got summarily dismissed by the mayor. And that was Marge Gaines, our original mayor. And so, but, I just kept there. I kept coming. And I didn't go away and ended up here. So what the heck? So with that, I'll make a motion, if I can have a second on that.
Could I jump in?
Sure.
And just offer an option. I'd like to put it out there on the table before we take a vote. I understand Dan, and I would say he has a lot to offer, but I have a little bit more of a compelling interest in Kimberly Evers right now. She has been the vice chair of the Parks and Rec Commission. And given that we moved 2 of our Parks and Rec commissioners to planning, and also the chair resigned in the last few months, I was thinking if I could suggest then, Mayor, that Kimberly does have experience on the commission, and at this juncture, it might be helpful to carry her through for this interim unscheduled vacancy appointment.
So is that a substitute motion?
I will
Okay.
put that forward.
And is there a second for that motion or the original motion?
I'll second the original.
Okay. No second on the substitute motion? Okay, so that fails for lack of a second. So we have a motion and a second. I've got, did you want to speak, Deputy Mayor? You had your button pushed here.
I just know that I was going to second your motion.
Okay.
I know there was a lot of diligence put into that thought coming in here, and I did want to take a moment to thank Mr. Hart for showing up, and I want to encourage you, reach out to us, and just because you're not on a commission doesn't mean we don't want you to reach out to us and get involved in projects you see us working with, and we're welcoming with open arms, so thank you.
Yeah, and as we say each time, the meetings, all the commission meetings are open to the public. They're Brown Act meetings. We treat them like Brown Act meetings, so they're on the YouTube channel. But you can also come, participate, speak, and I encourage everyone to do that. Anybody that's interested in a commission that does not get selected. So, motion and second. Let's call the question.
That motion carries 4-1 with Councilmember Lyons voting no.
Okay, let's move on to the Public Health and Safety Commission and take
Applicants?
the
Tanya
applicants.
Bell?
Good evening, Mayor Ehlers, council members, and staff. Tanya Bell, District 1, back again. I'm a Leucadia local. I attended elementary school here, grew up here. My family lives here. And I'm invested in the city of Encinitas. And it would be a privilege to serve on the Public Health and Safety Commission. I'd like to outline some reasons why I would be a good fit for this team. I believe my degrees in nursing and criminal justice and my professional background could be leveraged to support the goals of the Public Health and Safety Commission and the ad hoc committees. I feel I have a good balance between compassion and compliance. For the past 16 years, I've worked as an RN in the areas of mental health and Alzheimer's disease. I have served in several key roles and have collaborated on many executive level projects across multiple departments. My contribution as a protocol reviewer on the FDA mandated Institutional Review Board for the approval of clinical trials, and my engagement on our accreditation of the Human Research Protection Program are examples of high-level performance on critical committees responsible for individual safety, hospital standards, and our fiscal impact. My professional background in quality assurance and compliance highlights my natural inquisitiveness. I have extensive experience with reviewing, assessing, and enforcing federal, state, and local laws and regulations. I've designed quality improvement initiatives to streamline department processes and mitigate violations. I'm our department's primary contact regarding SOPs and the enforcement of good clinical practices, which protect the safety and rights of all clinical trial participants. Working in law enforcement as a team leader for the safe execution of the clearing of the President's plane, my leadership skills were critical. Entry into Air Force One, delegation of responsibilities and overseeing multiple teams in a high-stress environment were tasks I performed that required situational awareness, problem-solving, quick thinking, and discretion. I have earned several professional accolades over the years, and one that stands out to me was earned when I was Director of Human Capital, and it was an award for our actions during the Witch Creek fire. Our team of 3 worked through the night to house every displaced employee, their family member, and pets, and ensure their safety was number 1, and all costs associated with their temporary shelter were taken care of. I think since that time, a safety evacuation plan for our city has been on my mind. I trust this brief overview demonstrates how my skills align with the goals of this commission, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to the safety and well-being of our community in the city of Encinitas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next applicant is Donald Jones. He was unable to attend, but he did send a comment in. William Lawson, are you here? And then Jerome Stocks.
Evening. Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Jerome Stocks. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. As an Encinitas homeowner since 1986, I've raised 3 children here in this town, and To be able to provide our mayor and city council with the best advice possible on maintaining and improving our community would be a real honor. Quality of life starts with excellent public safety services. Since 2019, I've patrolled our city as a sheriff's volunteer patrolman, typically between 6 and 18 hours a week, and that's up and down the streets. That includes foot patrols in the parks and through the shopping centers, including talking to the homeless, asking if they need any PERT services or other services, making sure they're alive, actually. You know, that's been a great time, actually. It's a lot of fun and very rewarding. As a council member, I served on the CSA board as well as the Northcom board for dispatch, fire dispatch. I believe I'm well equipped to help this commission be an excellent resource. And one of the things that I learned as a commissioner, previously I was a Parks and Recreations commissioner, and as a council member and mayor, is that we need our commissions to do their homework and do the best possible job they can to bring you concise and well thought out and well researched information. Be your eyes and ears, in other words. And one of the things I definitely bring to this position is knowledge of how to work as a member of a commission and a member of a committee in order to help facilitate a concise and meaningful product. So I hope you'll consider me, and I thank you very much for your time tonight.
That concludes applicants for Public Health and Safety Commission.
And this is another case where every one of these people could be on this commission so easily and so well qualified, some incredibly so, and in different ways, too. One thing in particular, I think, Tanya, you said is you stay up at night thinking about the evacuation plan. I do, too. I think that is one of my biggest concerns. In fact, when I first got up here, that was the first thing I gave the Public Health and Safety Commission, look at wildfire risk. And I think the next logical one after that is probably evacuation. Jerome, I've known for quite a long time. I know your background. I know how long you've been volunteering for the volunteer. I don't know Donald personally, but wow, what a resume. And I don't know William that well. So I got a hard choice to who I nominate here. And the one thing I will add is that we have 3 openings next year. 3 openings coming up, so there will be more opportunities coming up, and you never know mid-year too. At this time, I'm going to go with Tanya. Jerome, I know you'll stick around. I know you'll still be stopping by City Hall, and you'll bend my ear. Please do, and please stay involved. And let's see what happens next year. I think there's more openings coming, but at this point, I would make a motion to nominate Tanya for this, Tanya Bell for this role.
And I'll second.
Okay, I've got a second on that. And I've got Councilmember Schaefer up first.
Yeah, and I did have a chance to talk with Jerome and his extensive background. I would back him. I do back him. I think he's a great choice. That being said, I know Tanya's been here standing in line from the last time we had these interviews. I know that the chair of the current Public Health and Safety has given his nod to her, and so I want to trust the chain of command, if you will, and the people that are actually running the commission now. So I'll go ahead and back Tanya as well. But I'd hope Jerome that next year with the 3 openings that you show back up. So.
Did I got a second already? So I didn't see it up here. And then Deputy Mayor.
Yeah. I want to echo everyone's statement. This was almost like a pick'em group of people for a good spot, and there are 3 spots coming up in the spring, or the next year rather. And I support this signing Mrs. Bell to the commission. I think it diversifies the commission a little bit, and I think I've watched this commission since this past year really turn itself around. I think if I were going to give a attaboy to any of our commissions for really taking the job by the horns, really kind of getting involved in what they're doing, everybody seemed to respond. So Tanya, I hope you know what you're getting into. But I think I do want to encourage everyone to come back. I want to say how great this commission has done. And I assume we'll be welcoming Mrs. Bell, but I want to encourage everyone else to come back for the next round.
Yeah. And just to clarify something about what this commission does and some of the discussions that have occurred in oral comments about the purview, I think it's appropriate to talk about the purview a bit. What I've been telling the commission chairs, and I meet with each of the commission chairs twice a year, and sometimes more often. In the case of Planning Commission, I meet every quarter. I also meet with various commissioners too, one-on-one to talk. But the general rule of thumb I've been using for what the purview is for each of our commissions would be the corresponding element of our general plan. I'm trying to get this city to run on its general plan. That is the comprehensive plan that was drafted back in 1989. It's periodically updated in parts, but it provides a very consistent allocation of what each commission and what each purview points to. So in the case of the Public Safety Commission, it's the public safety element. In the case of planning, it's the housing and land use. In the case of Traffic Mobility Traffic Commission, it's the circulation element, et cetera, et cetera. Now, not everybody has one yet, but maybe someday we'll get to the point where we have an environmental element also, and then the Environmental Commission would have it. But it's a good way, and by the way, the state already anticipated that there is there is conflict amongst all the elements of the general plan, and so there's a statute that says they have to be consistent with one another, and so that's that. So if you wonder what the purpose is or the goal for and the purview of the Public Health and Safety Commission, it would be that element, and look at that. And by the way, that includes providing advice. This is true for all the commission. Providing advice if something's not in our general plan that really should be, we need to add it to the general plan so it can be part of the purview of that commission. So that's kind of the big picture. So did we call the question yet? I think I got motion second. Call the question. We're waiting for the computer.
Motion carries unanimously.
And that takes us to the Senior Commission.
Senior Commission, first applicant, Stephen Hines, also known as Rich. He did send an email that we just forwarded to you. Stacy Kalmanovitz, I don't believe is here, and then Stephen Lord.
Mayor, City Council, it appeared earlier, I've expressed opinion that I think senior citizens are in this community are ready and willing and able to contribute more to the city than they've been asked to do in the past. You can see my background is up there. I've got a lot of experience as a consultant dealing with a lot of different kinds of people, a lot of different kinds of companies, a lot of different kinds of problems. I'm also an innovator, so I can come up with solutions to things. I got a range of history in Encinitas. I raised 6 kids. I had a home-based business, so I understand those kind of issues as well. I see an opportunity here, which I'd like to discuss, which is that we got a lot of seniors. A lot of these are empty nesters. They've got rooms in their houses that they're not doing anything with whatsoever. We've got a lot of people who need relatively low-income housing. Even if they have a reasonably high income, they have difficulty in accumulating capital in order to buy a house or even a condominium. So I think one of the things I'd like to see the Senior Commission look at is whether or not we can look at house sharing and provide low-income housing, some companionship for senior citizens, and income, which, you know, for a lot of people are house poor in Encinitas. They've got a nice house, but they don't have a lot of cash income. So I think there's an opportunity there for us to look at. As far as the commission, I would think we could look at the regulatory issues. Obviously, when you're sharing a house with someone, you need to be able to resolve difficulties and you need to be able to evict them. You can't have a 12-month period where someone is staying in your house rent-free while you go through complicated and expensive legal processes. So I would hope there was some way of dealing with that issue. Obviously, we also have to spread the word to people, how we would, who would be interested in doing that. And then there's the tax benefits, which I'm fairly familiar with because I actually shared my house for the last 24 years with various different people, different students, elderly people, et cetera. So I'm familiar with the issues, and I think I could put together a good story to bring people together to discuss these things. And I also have some experience on some of the more practical issues. Perhaps you remember from your college days, arguing about whose cheese was in the refrigerator and that kind of stuff. But there's typically food, cooking, laundry, and noise are the issues that people have to deal with when they're looking at this. So our approach is with this and other things will be just to discuss
you.
the ideas, develop plans, and make
I'll have to cut you
recommendations.
off, Steve, just to be fair. So,
That concludes senior commission applicants.
okay. And once again, this one, I think one of the applicants was not over 55, and I thought that was actually important for a senior commission because it is a senior commission. So Stacy had a good background, but I think I looked at the two Stevens, and looking at the two Stevens, both very qualified, but one of them has been here in front of us as long as I can remember, as long as I've been coming here. Stephen Lord has been coming to City Hall and commenting, not too often, but when it was important. And that's exactly the behavior I want. I want somebody who's going to be involved and that's going to show up and do the work. And I think Stephen Lord, you're that. So I would make a motion to nominate Stephen Lord for the senior commission opening.
Stole what I was going to say. I would second that nomination. For the record, I nominated you last time, so I second it now.
And same thing, the others, keep coming back and look at other opportunities too. With that, I've got a motion and a second, no comments, so we'll call the question.
That motion carries 4-1 with Councilmember Lyons voting no.
Okay, and we will now move on to item 12, or item 11, which is we have none. Item 12 is council-initiated items. We have one. It's a council-initiated item by Councilmember Luke Schaefer to introduce Glen Park skateboard feature. With that, I will turn it over to Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I just want to overview real quick. This is a conversation we'd had with the skate community about starting out at Moonlight. Moonlight is state-owned property that is a bridge significantly too far to get the state to change some of the things in that area in the short term. However, to get right kind of to the point, this is not an item for a skate park, is more of a skate feature. Think of ECP, Encinitas Community Park, that has a skate park there. If you think of Leucadia Oaks, down on Vulcan, it's got a small skate feature. If you think of Olympus Park, it's got a skate feature, a skate bowl, and a kind of a small pump track style skate bowl. So it's a multi-feature at Olympus and a single feature at the Leucadia Oaks. So I'm just going to read the recommendation to staff because if anybody wants to read the report, they can get further into it and we can get right to the public comments. So direct staff to evaluate the feasibility of incorporating a skateboard feature at Glen Park in Cardiff. This evaluation should include, identification of potential locations within the park, preliminary design concepts and options, estimated costs and designs, construction and maintenance, assessment and consistency with existing park uses and plans, community outreach, needs, and potential engagement approach. This also includes possible funding, possible ability to increase the value of Glen Park. And for those of everybody that wrote in was in a complaint against this was always against the skate park. This is not to change Glen Park to completely revert it to a skate park model. This is simply to evolve Glen Park. What people would not probably remember is back in the early 80s, is Glen Park was pretty much the only park in town. And every Little League, Snuffy basketball, soccer club did their weekly. We had end of the year parties there, and it was the one spot for birthdays, the galore of the opportunities for a park use. So for those that have gotten used to the sleepy side of Glen Park, that was the predominant park. ECP didn't exist. La Costa Lake Sports or Carter Sports Park did not exist. Most of the parks throughout the town did not exist, and Glen was the shining, the glimmering light of a park. Now, that being said, I will direct staff as well to obviously, we're already looking at other locations in town. That's part of the work plan. But to speed this up and to get the conversation going, I put this on for an initiated item to get the staff moving in that direction. So I'll leave it there and go to oral comments.
Okay. Do we have any questions of clarification from council? If not, we'll go to public input. How many do we have?
We have 12 speakers at the moment and several with time donations.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, 3 minutes.
First 3 speakers, Ariel Golden, followed by Barry Blumenthal, and then David Skinner.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to comment tonight. My name is Ariel Golden, and I'm a resident of Cardiff. I would like to understand how this council settled on Glen Park as the location for this new skate feature. I hear it's kind of part of the heritage, given the site's known challenges with drainage and acoustics and the apparent lack of community input. The skate bowl at Encinitas Community Park is a cherished community resource, we all know, clearly the result of very thoughtful planning. It's located at a high point in the city, so stormwater drainage and acoustics are not major concerns. And it's the result of strong community input. Our past leaders' efforts really show in the quality of the result. Glen Park has almost the opposite topography. If you've ever walked through Glen Park after the rain, it gets very saturated. It basically collects all of the runoff of our neighborhood and holds it there. So if a skate bowl is the feature that's selected, I wonder what would happen in that saturated environment and concerned for the maintenance that the city would be responsible for. The second concern I have is acoustics. Glen Park is a glorious natural bowl. It's an amphitheater. The sound reverberates through the community, which is lovely. In fact, pickleball courts were proposed there a while ago, and that was rejected due to noise concerns. And I imagine a skate feature would have a similar result. And my last concern is community outreach. I live in Cardiff, and a lot of residents are opposed to this. At this point, it's hard to understand why this spot was selected for the discussion, and that lack of listening is concerning to me. The project would permanently change our neighborhood, so it's important that it's well thought out and that the whole neighborhood gets to discuss it. So a new skate feature would be a wonderful addition to Encinitas and Cardiff. I hope that the basic considerations like drainage, acoustics, and community input are all considered while we slow down and discuss where the right location is. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me back out. Barry Blumenthal, 61-year-old unprofessional skateboarder, retiree. And I came to y'all about 2 years ago. And Encinitas is a destination for everything, but especially skateboarders from all over the world. And Poods Park has always had some of the greatest skaters, but none of your visitors ever know about it because it's so secluded. So I started looking at parks that already had all amenities and were very iconic that could use the inspiration of bowl skating. And Moonlight was the first choice, which I still believe is viable. But Glen Park is a perfect spot because of its location, the beautiful tree canopies, and the view of the ocean. And when you talk about a bowl, you're really talking about a swimming pool in a 1970s backyard, about that size, 3,000 to 5,000 square feet. And Glen Park is, I think, 240,000 square feet, so less than 2%. But the amount of inspiration and friendship and community that comes when you put in a bowl. I was at Poods, the combination bowl there, and there was a young girl, I think she's 11 years old, Anna Shea, and she was maybe 50 pounds. She's an Olympic hopeful in 2028, but she was going 7 feet above that bowl, flying, and then she would spin 540 degrees. Now imagine that at Glen Park, what kind of inspiration that would do for all the kids and adults. You know, it's documented that skateboarding, even if you don't do it, you see that kind of flight and you want to go exercise or play or whatever. And I think that's what's missing in so many beautiful parks is people get there, but there's nothing really inspirational to watch. And that's what everybody wants, all these visitors. So these tourists, skate tourist families come here year long, and some of them are old guys like me, and some of them are Olympic hopefuls, but they stay in short-term rentals in places like Cardiff or Moonlight, and the city is benefiting from the room nights. And so I think at the end of the day, what a bowl at Glen Park would bring would be inspiration and fun. And I know it's difficult as city leaders because you're always battling between status quo and progression. But I think when you look at the next generation, it's not me at 61, it's the future. And they need, when you already have built an iconic park like Encinitas Community Center, you can have a hub and spokes. And little 3,000 to 5,000 square foot bowls are game changers, but it's limited capital budget, and I'm willing to try to find the money through donors. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me come. My name is David Skinner. I'm a 31-year elementary school teacher. I retired, and I skateboard and surf in Encinitas practically every day. What we're asking for here is an opportunity to expand the opportunities for the entire community. Again, we're not talking about tearing out the trees and paving Glen Park, but the idea of establishing small skate spots that coexist with other recreational uses is a model that's worked in other cities. Landis Park in Oceanside is a great example of that. La Colonia Park in Solana Beach, it's kind of a joint use thing. Encinitas does it. Olympus Park is a perfect example of this. The footprint of the skate feature is about the size of a tennis court. It's about the same size as the basketball court, and I can tell you, I'm there a lot. I can tell you which one gets used all the time, and it's not the basketball court. At Olympus Park in Encinitas, you'll see parents with their kids skateboarding, roller skating, scootering, alongside teenagers after school, and old guys like me. And we all get along, and I don't think there's significant problems there. What we're asking is that, we ask the city to just research this. Instead of rejecting it out of hand, look into it. How can we work with the community to address the concerns and objectively study what can be done here? We believe it can be done successfully. Skateboarding, for some people, is just a surprise, but skateboarding is a mainstream sport, and Encinitas is home to companies and residents that benefit from its popularity. Encinitas is home to numerous world champions and Olympic medalists, many of whom have received commendations at this meeting. I believe there are thousands of active skateboarders in this community. And the council has an opportunity and I think a duty to support them as much as it does other groups of park users. Thank you.
Next three speakers, Catherine Sauerborn, followed by Barry Marassi, and then Ellen Burr with 2-time donations, one from Molly Hantlian, who is present, and the other from Dennis McRoberts, who is present.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. He just called my name. Did I get up too soon?
Who's up next?
Catherine's first.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, no, you're, okay.
Yeah. He calls out the
Thank
next
you.
name, and sometimes it does get confusing.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Catherine Sauerborn. I'm a Cardiff resident. My front yard is across the street from Glen Park. I am here to respectfully ask you to reconsider the proposed skate feature at Glen Park. I want to be clear, I support skateboarding and I think it's a great activity, but I don't believe Glen Park is the right location. The park is small, heavily used, and one of few quiet neighborhood spaces we have. Families, dog walkers, and residents rely on it for calm, everyday environment. Because of its layout, noise really carries, and skate features would significantly change the feel of the park. There's also real concerns about parking, traffic, and safety on the surrounding street, which are already limited and busy. I believe this decision deserves more thoughtful citywide approach to finding the right location, somewhere that better fits the scale and impact of a skate feature. So I respectfully ask that Glen Park be removed from the consideration at this time. Many of you ran your campaigns on listening to the people, so I implore you to do that here now. Thank you for listening.
Barry, it's your turn.
Yep.
Again, my name is Barry Morassi, and I've been in Cardiff for about 38 years. Prior to that was in Encinitas, Leucadia for 15 years. So had an opportunity to see Cardiff, and I think part of the concern I have here is that I don't think there's adequate room for, even though it might be a small area, something of that sort. As this lady said, it seems to be pretty crowded there most of the time. Cardiff is considered, at least that part of it, a walking district. So a lot of people walk around and end up there. During the summer, there are kids' camps there, parties, birthday parties, all kinds of events take place there. Lots of little kids are there, and I don't see how all of that might blend. A couple of things is, one of them is parking. And you may know that recently, within the last couple of years, the east side of that park has had a red line painted there because it's too narrow for cars to go by, and so you can't park there. It just eliminates further the parking. There's a little bit of parking on the northwest edge near the basketball courts or the playground there. It just seems as though it might be too much in that case. The demographics, I think, of Cardiff have changed significantly, possibly because real estate values are way up. 38 years ago, we saw lots of kids around the neighborhood, many of them going surfing. Don't see that anymore. So certainly there's some children there, but not a lot, whatever the attraction may be for the children. It might be a good economic thing for the city, but boy, I don't know that we need the economic aspect in Cardiff. It's already pretty crowded, as you know, if you drive around some of these streets. It's really tight. We talked one time to a guy who replaces rearview mirrors, and he does a big job there. So again, I think it's way too tight. It's a very, very nice park. I don't see the space for that kind of thing. There certainly would be other locations in Encinitas. So with that, I would ask you to go some other place with it. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. As a resident and very local to the park, I was frankly offended to see this, and I am 99% sure this was not mentioned to my representative, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't mentioned to the new person on the park board who is from Cardiff. So my first not happy response would be, stay in your lane. This is a small community park. So why are we even here? How many bites at the pig does this group of guys get? They have been to the city. It was referred to Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec created a subcommittee, worked their little buns off to get it together. So I'm going to go back here and do some history, all right? In August 27th, it came to the city from engineering talking about ADA. So ADA was approved. I opposed it because I thought we needed to look at replacing park equipment at the same time. But we were well on our way to doing that, so it went ahead and was approved. Council actions. Schaefer moved, Lynn seconded. So you approved the stuff to do with ADA access. Could you put up the little weird black map, please? Okay. So then we have, in January of this year, it comes again to issue a RFP for this, actually. And once again, Schaefer moved and Lyons seconded to approve the contract to go ahead with the ADA process. Okay, so Mr. Schaffer, you approved the ADA work twice. Please look at this photo that shows where the encroachment will be from the ADA construction. Okay, here is, I couldn't get FedEx to do it. Hopefully you can see it. This is a photo of what it looks like today with these little red stakes all over the place showing where the ADA sidewalk is going to be. So they are well underway with the ADA improvements. Could you go back to the green map? So the subcommittee at Parks and Rec worked really hard, and they wanted to get this out because it was their understanding, and they had presentations from these guys. I guess they met with them, didn't meet with anybody from the neighborhood, because they wanted to get a result to the council right away. And so they created a memo. The memo was dated November 12th. Their first response to the rest of their commission was in September. Okay, they reviewed it and they came up with a memo to send to council. Now, it's my understanding that for some reason that memo did not get to council until February. Nonetheless, you received it, which was plenty of time to get this on the way to figure out what you wanted to do based on their recommendations. That recommendation, and I will read the whole thing because I think I got time. This memo is a summary of the Skate Surf Volleyball Ad Hoc Committee presentation at the 9/16/25 Parks and Rec Commission meeting. It contains a recommendation for skate facilities for City Council review. Recommended for city skate facilities. Encinitas should invest in facilities that are in line with its brand as state capital providing facilities, yada, yada, yada. Investigate options for an additional skate bowl in the city, including Moonlight Beach, Glen Park, and Encinitas Community Park as potential sites. Parking and restroom facilities should be a consideration. Moonlight Beach has high interest from the skateboarding community as skate bowl sites. Consider opportunities to improve skate park facilities overall, such as Leucadia Oaks, Glen Park, ECP, or future L7 Park, in addition to current and future capacity needs. Background, Encinitas is known as the skate capital. The city has the following at city parks. By the way, we have 3 skate parks. 2 of them are in Mr. Schaffer's district. So I suggest he improve the one that is rarely frequented and is very little and probably more appropriate to little kids. The ad hoc committee met with city staff, local skateboard advocates, and the Exposure Skate nonprofit. but not the local community. Staff should review the agreement between the state and city for Moonlight and Leucadia State Beach, engage with the relevant state officials, and see if they can't do it there. I do not understand why that memo did not come to the city, or if it did, or why it took so long from November to February to get here, but this is the wrong place. And looking at this, where are you going to put that skate park? The best place to put it to accommodate what these gentlemen want to do so you can have a view of the beautiful ocean would be at the upper end of the parking lot because it's almost flat and convenient. There will be no space once you put in the walking for ADA on the east side of the park unless you're going to pay to have a giant sump pump out every single day and keep it clean. Everybody knows you don't plant trees or vines around the swimming pool or around the skate bowl, because who's going to blow it out? Parks and Rec can't even get the playground blown off. So, please, I really don't understand why we're even here. Thank you.
Next three speakers, Roya Mahmoudi, followed by John Wilson, and then Greg Vosper.
Hello. Don't judge me because of my last name, Marco. I've seen you in Martini Ranch. I'm also a Cardiff resident. I've been here my whole life. I had my birthday parties as a child in Glen Park because it's right across the street from my house. So I know the soccer stuff and all of that. And I also know how noisy it is and that it is an amphitheater. And I also love skateboarding. I know Grant Britton. I know many skate photographers. I'm friends with them. I just know that there's lots of other places that aren't a mile away from an existing skate park that's amazing. Hawkview, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas, but Glen Park is just, it works as it is. I don't think it needs an improvement. It's been amazing for 50 years. That's how old I am. So I just don't think that a 6-minute ride away from an amazing, or 6-minute e-bike ride away from an amazing skate park is necessary, like just down the road, Glen Park. Keep it, it works as it is. I'm also interested in the why behind it. I know you mentioned it a little bit before, Mr. Schaefer, but I don't know like why it's so close to the Poods Park that exists that's really good. Why spend money on it, taking away something in the park that already works? The green space, everything in the park has a function and it gets used. I promise you the basketball court gets used all the time. I hear it every day. We hear the kids at camp every day. Those noises are great. The scratching and the grinding, again, I love skateboarding. It's loud, it's different, and it echoes. It's an amphitheater. And I got home from work today. I'm a teacher, and I was having a sip of tea, and I was reading the public comments to this, and I read 101 comments of people that commented that were opposed already without even really knowing about it, and one that was for, and even that was kind of vague. So I just kind of want us to be heard, especially those of us that live and have lived forever at the park. So thank you. Appreciate your time.
I try to keep those guys here. I'm John, and I've been a long-time Cardiff resident. Thank you for answering my email, too. You're the only person, when I sent out all these emails, you're the only one that answered, so thank you, Joey. I tried to keep these guys here to hold up Luke Schaefer signs when I started talking with the thumbs down, but they wouldn't take the $20. That was a good attempt, though. I'm a father of three, lived here, raised my boys, 3 boys, and very aggressive boys. And raised them here. They love Cardiff. They played ball at the old ball field that they took out. My dogs ran at the old dog park that they took out underneath all the old mature trees that they took out. And now you guys are coming for me. You guys saw the responses, the overwhelming responses from the people of Cardiff, and they just don't want a skate feature there. There's a basketball court, there's a tennis court, there's a beach volleyball court, and contrary to what other people tell you, those things get used all the time, particularly on the weekends, because I go down there and kick my kid's butt on the hoop court. All right, so I can tell you that those things are used all the time. The park itself, the green area, that's the last green space in Cardiff. Everything else is gone. You guys have paved it. There's no more parks in Cardiff. That's it. That's the only, I'm like a rancher because I have a front lawn. It's like the Dutton Ranch. Nobody else has grass in Cardiff. There's so much construction going on there. They call it construction by the sea. All right? But seriously, all right, it's the last green spot. It's the old village green, just like they have back on the East Coast. It's the old village green. It's where young people, old people, everybody comes to meet. They walk their dogs through there. There's moms with baby carriages doing some kind of weird aerobics thing every morning, running their kids up and down the hills there. It's extremely well used the way it is. This week, there are Easter egg hunts there. There's a day camp there. There was a bunch of Easter parties. There was a birthday party. There's people cooking on the grills out there with their families and stuff. You're using the park for what it was intended for. It's an old village green. We want to keep it that way. It's a narrow road going all the way around the park, and you guys know, I mean, anybody that's seen it knows how dangerous that is, right? I don't know where you're going to park additional vehicles. You're not going to take away these people's front lawns or the front of their houses. So with all the delivery trucks, the Amazon trucks, the construction trucks that are everywhere out there, there's not going to be any room for that either. The last thing we need in Cardiff is more construction and more concrete. All we're looking for is one green spot to be left alone. And when you, sorry. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hello. I've been enjoying Glen Park since I was a baby. I absolutely love Glen Park. It's like a peaceful spot for me. My mom's aunt built the house that we live in. We're a block from the park, and when the house was built, it wasn't so much called Cardiff by the Sea. We were Cardiff by the Slough. So the old term is Cardiff by the Sea, good enough for me. Cardiff by the Slough, good enough for you, because our neighborhood stunk. And because it was by the lagoon, smelled bad. So, you know, I'm inherited old Cardiff, and I love it here. I love the park, and I'm all for skateboarding. Skateboarding's great. I think it's a great activity for the kids. We've got a great history in our city about skateboarding. We've got some of the best skateboarders here. But I fall in the category of wanting to keep that green zone. It's a bowl. It's going to be way too loud. And I just want to keep the quiet. We're really happy that a solution was found for Doug. He was making a whole lot of racket that was echoing through the whole park, and we learned. My kids learned a lot of choice cuss words that way. You know, my kids had all their birthday parties in that park. We love that park, and just want to keep that green space, keep it quiet, make it livable for the neighborhood. We've got a real problem with, you know, all the streets around Cardiff weren't designed for what we have right now. People driving a lot of cars, and it was really sleepy way back when. I remember it. There was like plumeria nurseries and all kinds of great stuff on empty lots. And we don't have any of those empty lots anymore. We're very, very overbuilt. And I've almost been in a couple accidents trying to go around that park because it's super blind. I would love to see a one-way street happen there. I don't know the feasibility of it. I have all these great ideas, but not the knowledge to know if it will work. But what I do know will not work is a super noisy skate park, because skateboards are loud. The clacking of all the, it's great in a place where the acoustics work. Glen Park's not the place for it. I appreciate your consideration. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Final three speakers, Ralph Cheney with the time donation from Linda Loeffler and Koros Mahmoudi, who are present, and then Valerie Wagner, and then Jan Lawson.
You're going to do a skating demo for us?
Okay, this is how you do it. No, it's not how you do it. But this is my board. I pulled it out. I haven't
Here, why
stood on it.
don't we get you on the mic?
I haven't stood on it for 20 years. I'm 73, and I know better. Yeah, skateboarding is great, and so is Glen Park. They're not a match. Of note, in this item, as I read the agenda item, there isn't a mention of studying any other places. So I don't know how you vote on stuff, but that's not on this thing that you might be voting on. I hope that you have read and recall now all the emails that you've received from people who know the park and experience just being in that park. One question is how this location actually serves Encinitas. Glen Park is off to one end of the city, just 2 blocks from the southern edge. At this location, the project would not be in service of much of Encinitas. So is this to serve just the southern part of Cardiff? Cardiff has one of the lowest school-age populations in the city, perhaps the lowest. The data, including from the local school board, shows that by 2030, just 4 years away, that number could be down by 10%. So this project here would be in service to an already small and anticipated shrinking population. The Parks and Rec report cites that a lot of Encinitas growth will be in multi-family housing. This housing takes place in other parts of Encinitas, not in southern part of Cardiff. Why not add amenities where the growth of people is going to take place? Put it there, instead of tucked away in a distant small place at the edge of town. One response to the criticism of and warnings of the harm to the neighborhood would be to say that it's just a feature. Have you seen what is called the feature at Olympus Park? The report refers to it as a small bowl and pump track. It's actually massive. You stand around and it's cement and there's bowls and I just can't imagine that, which is a small feature, in Glen Park. It would, sorry. So make it smaller. Some small features. The report talks about the small bowl and steps at Leucadia Oaks. The report also says that it's quite small and lightly used. So smallness may not be the best out for this. And in that location, there's just one nearby apartment building compared to Glen Park, where it's ringed on 3 sides by homes. And then beyond that, home after home, where the sound of that bowl extends. Lastly, it's, well, actually, this was a demonstration, and I was going to demonstrate the sound of skateboards, just to bring it back to you, but this is a carpet. So I'm going to go out here. Slightly harder surface. It's not as hard as cement.
Yeah, if you make it quick.
Okay. This is the sound of someone
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, we're not going to get you on tape way over there, but go ahead and do it and get back to the mic.
Someone learning, and this is the board coming off of a 1.5 step.
Yeah. So Ralph, if you can come back up to the mic, nobody can hear you that's listening from afar, and the record, you won't be on the record. So he went out in the hallway and dropped it on essentially linoleum or tile or vinyl or
I could
something.
have dropped it higher because of those 7 feet flights up in the air out of the
Yeah.
bowl. Anyway, so it's up to you to figure out how you're going to spend our money studying this stuff. At its best, Glen Park will provide the least return on how you'll invest our money, and it will certainly diminish the quality of life for the surrounding neighborhood and all those who love to use and rely upon the trees, the sloping green grass, an occasional basketball game and beach volleyball, the sounds of kids playing, and the peacefulness of that park. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Ellers and council and staff. I appreciate your time. My father was retired chief of police, and I have a high honor for each and every one of you for your positions. I'm from Cardiff. I live in Cardiff for over 50 years. I got married at Glen Park. My daughter got married at Glen Park, so it's special to my heart. One thing we didn't talk about is all the bird habitats that are existing at the park right now. We've got 2 wonderful husband and wife duo in the south side of Glen Park, and they've been there almost a year. Are they going to be destroyed by this? We have red-tailed hawks. When I found out about this from Ralph, I was disappointed that it hadn't been presented to others in our community. I'm on Newport Avenue, 10 steps from the park, and I just think that this is a really bad idea. I want to protect the birds as well. I contacted bird agencies and at the federal level as well, and I don't want to see those birds destroyed. That's one feature. There's many reasons why I'm opposed, including the parking that everybody talked about. We've had more near accidents going around that side of the park, and it's just a bad idea. The original people that donated that park, if any of you know, that's special. And they donated it for the good of all people. Skateboarders are a limited few. Can I honestly ask each one of you to raise your hand if you would really use a skateboard park? Is there anybody up here that would? By a show of hands, 1. Do you currently skateboard and over at the YMCA on an everyday basis? Because there's a beautiful skateboard park there, and at the other one over by Vaughn's. My son had the worst ACL injury skateboarding at the YMCA that the doctor had ever seen. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen to people, but skateboarding is very accident prone as well. I own a surfwear company. I had skaters on my team, and I wouldn't encourage it, even though I have participated in that aspect. So I encourage each one of you to please think about these facts, especially the birds, especially the parking, especially the residents of Cardiff. It's very important that we have our peace and quiet. I walk down through that park every single day with my dog on the leash, even though many people don't respect that. But we need to keep that green, and please consider that. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jan Lawson. I've been a resident of Cardiff for over 40 years from Chicago, so big change. And have had the joy and privilege of looking over Glen Park for over 35 years. And it is a community, small neighborhood park that's a little bit of quiet. a little bit of green and the beautiful trees and the beautiful views. The kids at the school, it's such a joy to listen to them laughing. And the parties that go on in the pavilion, it's just a little bit of paradise, this little park. And I think it'd be nice if we could keep it quiet. And it's got the other end with where the kids are, the basketball and volleyball. That's the activity end. And then the east end is the more quiet end. People come and put a blanket out and get some sun. And you see lovers on their blankets. It's just beautiful. And I don't see the need to introduce something as noisy as the skate park would be. And people have mentioned that the park is shaped like a bowl. It's like an amphitheater. And so the noises that I could hear from my house generally are really pleasant. It's laughter and just people having a good time, with the exception of Dougie, which would wake us up many a morning cussing, at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. So I really hope you guys will rethink, and you too, Joy, I left you a message today, that you guys will rethink another location and leave what I believe is the oldest park in Encinitas is Glen Park. That I hope you'll think about keeping Glen Park the way it is, because the neighbors do definitely want it to stay the same. Thank you.
That does conclude public speakers. However, we did receive 13 speakers who registered opposition, and we will enter their names into the record.
Okay, very good. So first question is, do we need a break, or should we just power through and get done? Cool. I'm up. I'm with you there. So with that, Councilmember Lyons, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you, Cardiff residents, for coming out. Many of you have emailed me directly, and I've shared those then with the city clerk to be part of the public record. Many of you have called me and left voicemails. I apologize if I haven't gotten back to everyone. What I want to start by saying is, Barry and David, we've spoken, and I support skateboarding, and I support helping you find a place that's appropriate in our city. So I want you to know that. But the way this has happened right here with the proposal for Glen Park has created a situation that's unfortunate for this effort. One is that the Cardiff community is shocked. This is shocking. This is not the way we should be doing business. So I want to kind of go there for a minute. There were so many people who heard about this that reached out. It's so obvious that this is a very sensitive location. And this approach has been tone deaf to what this community's concerns are. I've represented you for over 5 years, and I've heard from you all your concerns about Glen Park, noise being one of them, but other things as far as safety and traffic and parking. And this was not brought to my attention before it was brought here on this agenda. I would just like to say that I just want to call that out as this is not how we should be doing business. What it's done, unfortunately, is weakened trust in our community. Our community doesn't know, it's like, what happened here? All of a sudden, Glen Park, what? It's going to be a skate park? How did that happen? There's immediately a loss of trust. It's like, what's the city doing to us now? And I've heard you say some things like that. And I don't want to be divisive I don't want our community I don't want us as a city to communicate to our community that you can't trust us. And I worry that an approach like this has done that. We've worked really hard together to address the concerns of Glen Park because Glen Park has so many demands on it. You've just, in a few minutes here, the speakers today have just illuminated some of them. but it's incredible how much it's used, how much it's loved, every inch of it, and how many needs there are for it. To increase the demands on it in any way is a very, very sensitive thing. So I want to reiterate that it's one of the most dense parts of Cardiff. The homes are really close to each other, that I feel that I want to kind of wrap this up in what I hope we will do tonight, because the only way that I think we should move forward with addressing Barry's and Dave's interest in us finding a location for this amenity is that we back off and direct staff to evaluate all parks within the city based on the Parks and Rec Commission recommendation, and not to jump ahead of all of that work, hard work. That's a lot of work, but it's important work. And we need to be diligent to go through all the work and look at all of the properties. Ever since this has come out, properties have come up like Viewpoint Park. There's properties that we should look at that might be more appropriate. So I just wanted to message that to my council members, that that's the only way I would support this item is if it is not associated with targeting Glen Park, but backing off and directing staff to evaluate all parks. I'll rest.
So I'll hop in next. I look at this, and first thing, it's obvious. We need to explain. We have a procedure called C003. It's a policy, and it's how council-initiated items. It covers how that happens. And there was some misunderstanding, I think. This is not an item that was brought to council by staff. It wasn't brought to by a majority. It wasn't on an agenda. It literally is a council-initiated item, which, and I'll even quote the policy, are not reviewed by the mayor or city manager prior to the submission to the city clerk. And so this is an initial consideration if we want to even go anywhere on it at all. And it's a right of, we're all equals up here. I may run the meeting, but I'm 1 of 5 votes. I'm not 2 of 5 votes, 1.5 of 5 votes. I'm 1 of 5 votes. And if they want to put something on the initiative, and this has been true for years, any council member can do that. And that's why we're here now, and that's why it appears like it came out of nowhere, because in a way it did. And that is a right up here. And I just want to explain that. Now, I will put my pitch in. We're going to revise this. I think we need to fix this. I think it's broken. But we'll get back to that at a future council agenda, fixing how we do initiatives. So now let's talk about this issue. I've been working with Ralph and a bunch of other neighbors, working on, along with the other council members and the sheriff and all, and staff, working on Doug. I mean, I feel like you finally have your park back. Oh my goodness, yeah. And so I am very concerned about touching this park. I look at this is a quintessential local park. It serves the exact needs of the community. It has grown organically into just the right amount of this and that. What I was always disappointed, all the times I'd go down to visit and talk with Doug or the other homeless down there as we're working on that problem, I was concerned it was underused, not because there wasn't a demand or a desire, but because Doug was driving people out of the park. And I'm sure that was, especially younger families. So at this juncture, to now put a new use in there, I just can't go there right now. And I want to talk about my concerns. I think Doug has a great booming voice, and the amphitheater bowl there, we all know from wandering around the top when he was down there singing, I'll say politely, it carried all the way up into not just the first house, but well into the neighborhoods. You could walk up the streets. You can hear Doug. You will hear these noises. Amplified's the wrong word. Funneled up into the neighborhoods much the same way. And so let's talk about my concerns. And I have a lot that would have to be addressed. Noise, funding, where in the park, because I agree with the comments about runoff and everything and the crowded use over in the western portion. I'm concerned that it's close to the the Encinitas Community Park, where we have poods and we have the full skate feature. Why put them all in one end of the city? And is this really a regional or a neighborhood park? And I'm not quite sure what it is on our general plan, but I think it's not a regional park, even though it has off-street parking. Why not put pickleball down there? We didn't because it's noisy. The exact reason I wouldn't put the skate park there. And parking, there is parking there at least, so that's not as much of a concern. So with that, we've been fighting noise in this park for quite a long time. At this time, I am not interested in moving this forward. We have plenty of other need-to-haves. This is not the place to put it. In the future, I would entertain looking at other places. I've worked with Barry and Dave in looking at places. Originally, we were at Moonlight, looking at Moonlight. I wanted to be clear that I had when I talked originally with the proponents, we were talking Moonlight, and I said I would only support it if it did not take away beach sand, if it did not take away parking, if it did not. There were 2 or 3 others they were just non-negotiable. We have to be very careful where we put an additional feature as we squeeze into parks. Glen Park's not the place to put this, so I'm not supporting this tonight moving forward. With that, I'll recognize Deputy Mayor O'Hara.
Okay. First off, I want to thank the community for engaging in this topic. I want to ask you to let me run with this before you judge what I'm going to say. I listened to this. I read all the emails, and I think how many here know Bryce Whitstein? Everybody here knows Bryce Whitestein. She's an Olympian. She's from the city. You'd all love to have her come over and hang out with your kids. Who knows Tony Hawk? Everybody knows Tony Hawk. We make tons of money off Tony Hawk in this city. Happily, right? We consider ourselves a skate culture, right? There was a time when surf culture was considered rugged and lazy and not the kid you want to invite over. And it's changed, right? Like Rob Machado, his kid and mine used to play at Glen Park all the time, and Rob was a great guy. I'd love to hang out with him more. He's too cool for me, but that's a side note. And that's changed, right? And we look around and you look at guys like, I heard stereotypes of young people, kids making noise. No offense. Doug, Barry, Dave, they're not young kids. No offense, guys. It's everybody out there, and we as a city need to step away from a stereotype on this topic of what we think skating is. And I'm not talking about Glen Park. I'm just talking in general because I think you hear this wherever you go. And I don't think it's not just kids. It's everybody out there skateboarding. It's parents. It's young kids. It's adults. We have our biggest event in Encinitas is a skateboard event. Exposure Skate gets 81 million views on YouTube. 81 million. That's huge, right? We call ourselves a surf and skate capital of the United States. We all have at some point. We know somebody who does, and we consider it part of our culture. I just read that Vista is going to make a skate museum. That's crazy. I mean, how can we you don't look at Vista and say that is the skateboard capital of the United States. Nobody does. We think Encinitas is the skate capital of the United States, surf capital of the United States, beach capital of the United States. And so I want to step back and say, hey, this stereotype, and I'm not talking about Glen Park at the moment, but this stereotype, it's got to go. It's not the reality. It's changed in a great way. And we need to embrace it as a city because it is part of how we define ourselves. I heard a lot about the park itself, and I've met so many people who have said, I used to skate the trench in that park in the 80s. Yeah, I've got somebody back there raising their hand. And so this park has a history of skateboarding. And if you grew up around it, you know that it does. People have been skateboarding there for years, right? And again, don't give me room to run on this one. It's you can read it anywhere. I read all the emails, and I heard a lot about the noise and the people out there and the concerns. And we just, to the mayor's point, we just got rid of the challenge everybody faced when they were dealing with the gentleman named Doug. How many out here know that all the studies you'll find will tell you that skate features discourage that behavior? Every study you find will tell you that skate features actually discourage that type of behavior. Again, the stereotype we've gotten into that it's going to attract these negative people. The stats will tell you the exact opposite. Over and over again, it'll tell you that this discourages it. They self-regulate it. They clean it themselves. I think sound-wise, any feature that we put in, and I know I've spoke with everybody. I feel like everybody up here has spoken with the skate community at some point along the way. They're gonna adjust sound wherever they are. They're looking to put in a cover, looking to put in a sound. They're, again, guys who are well aware of, and people in this community who are well aware of, they're part of a community, and they just want to be invited in. They want to be as welcome for everybody else as they are to welcoming everyone else who shows up with a skateboard. And I think that's a really important thing that we need to look at in this. I would also add a couple of quick things. I don't think funding is going to be an issue if we look at the right place. But I also think this covers a lot of other aspects we looked at. I think that memo I heard from the Parks and Rec Committee actually supported this project. If you listen to the reading of it, but I also think we've got to push for art. I'm on the subcommittee for the Cultural Arts Commission or Cultural Tourism Committee to find spaces for art. And this is another opportunity to put art in alongside with it and enrich the community wherever this goes. Now, all that said, please take that away, because I think that's a really important part of us being a better community. But all that said, I also read the 101 emails that were sent in, or whatever the number, over 100 emails that were sent in, and the comments that were made here. And so I'm going to propose something. I'm going to propose something that I think addresses the concerns we've had here, but acknowledges that something needs to move forward, something needs to come out of this, and whether it's the nudge to get this rolling, or whatever it is. So I'm gonna make a motion to create a skate initiative tonight. To walk around here to create a skate initiative that starts with a committee of not just staff, because staff doesn't all live here. They're not in tune with the skate community. They're not in tune with the communities around here. But it's made up of members of the community with staff's help that can identify in short-term locations, challenges, what I would call a CIP instead of a CPP, which are community input meetings. Where what are the concerns? How do we acknowledge it? Are we making sure that this is the right spot for it? The sound is there. The return on investment is there. And we look at those places within the city that fit the goal. One of the goals I think for this is return on investment, and in getting the opportunity for the world to come here and see how beautiful a place we live in. Encourage STVRs. Encourage the better skaters to come to the events we do have here. We turn over tons and tons of media, probably more than the entire city combined, on this topic. And I think surf might be the only thing that touches it. I think we need to wrap our community hands around it and acknowledge that we need to do more. Like I think there are multiple places for it in the city. I think this is a touch point, but I think we clearly know that if there's any goal with this area, it needs to be deep dove into. But I think we're hearing the community say, to some degree, and if you read it in these emails, we're not sure if this is the right spot. We're not sure there's a better spot. We'd like you to do the diligence and look for a better spot. And so that's my motion. My motion is to create a skate initiative to identify multiple spots around the community, to pick the first one, because I think we got the first one, the first domino to fall over, and see what we can look at as far as the outcome. Leucadia Oaks Park, the community around that, and I wasn't on council, I wasn't on a commission, I lived here. The community was really worried about that. They were really, right? They were really worried. And it's a nothing burger. A couple people skate there a day. Down the other day, a guy showed up at his lunchtime, did some skating, and went home. And so it's being used by the community, but it's not impacting the community in a negative way. And I think that I think we have the opportunity to do more of that. You know, this isn't a community. This isn't a community burden. This is a community bonus and feature we want to figure out. We want to put it in the spot where it makes sense for everybody. So that's my motion.
May I interject?
Yeah.
I would say if ultimately that's the direction, I think the better course would be to agendize that as an item at the next meeting. I think that that's not exactly contained within what we have right now.
Okay.
But ultimately, if that is the course that the council wants to go, we will bring that back as an agenda item at a future council meeting.
So can I change the motion to have it agendized at the, what would be the 22nd or something like that?
22nd is packed. It already has 5 to 6 action items, but if you want to add it, we can. Because it'll be an action item.
Let's manage our agenda so we're not here till midnight.
So can we bring it on the 15th? Let's not wait a month. We've already got the conversation going.
The 15th agenda went out today.
Okay.
But so it
Then
could,
I'd like to push it. I'd like to get it done this month.
Except for the fact we're going to end up with a lot of people.
We are.
Yeah, but we don't have the time that night, so.
I'm here to get stuff done. I don't care if I get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to work for the people.
Yeah, but not everybody in the public wants to be here till 2 o'clock.
Correct.
Right? I mean, I'll stay too, but I get comments all the time. People want to see us get this done by 9 or 10.
I want to get it done right. I don't worry about the clock. If we go past the time that it says to go, we make a motion, we keep going. Doesn't matter what the topic is.
Yeah, but I find after 11 o'clock, the decision gets a little hurried, and I think if we can do some load leveling, that's part of my problems with the council-led initiative is that it's a big variable that I get no review, the city manager gets no review, and then boom, we got 1 or 2 extra items on here that take us well beyond where we thought we were
We all
going to be.
get 9 days to talk about these things and do our research, and we all do our homework and come here prepared to go. That's our diligence
I
and our duty.
understand, but it takes time, it takes public input like it does tonight. So I'd prefer to put it off to the next available slot, whatever that would be.
we could do the first meeting in May.
I'll go with it. That's 4 weeks away, though. Can we do it next week? No, we can't do next
No,
week.
we
So,
can't because it's already gone out. Agenda's already out.
all right. So maybe I'll do this council sheet item for the 22nd.
Yeah, and you'll prove my point about why we need to change that process.
I have
So,
to get all of us to approve that, so.
yeah.
I guess I've got to wait till that. I'll take the motion, but I think we need to do that. I want to acknowledge all these people here today, and thank them for their time and their input. I think it was really valuable, and I think we need to do the skate initiative and get things moving. And if we have to wait till the first week in May, that's that. Let's do it.
So, okay, I got Councilmember San Antonio.
I'll second the motion.
I don't know if this is, I've spent a lot of time at Glen Park. I've been here since 1981, 1980. I thought I was going to be the first Asian basketball player in the NBA, playing at Glen Park. I spent a lot of times playing street ball there, practicing my moves. So I know that it's a great park. It's a beautiful park. I mean, you're right by the ocean, and I totally understand everybody's concerns. Whether you've just moved there or you've been there for 15 years, 20 years, it is a beautiful spot. And thank you for saying it is the last green spot in Cardiff. I have many friends that live over there and developing in there, and it's kind of crazy what it's turned into. But man, I think that Councilmember Schaefer mentioned it in the beginning. This was kind of to get the ball rolling. Yes, this was in Glen Park. It was one of the 3 spots that we had that was in that report. But But I also, Jim kind of took or Deputy Mayor O'Hara took the words out of my mouth. I brought it up at my staff meeting as well. I feel like the view on skateboarding is so different now than it was back in our day when it was like thrashing and like destruction and trying to be like cool and spray painting stuff. And now it's so much different. I mean, it's not counterculture anymore, much like surfing. It's Olympic sport. It's so different. So I do understand. I do understand that part as well. That it's is a little bit noisy, but are there so many skate features all over Encinitas, Pacific Highlands, and Carmel Valley? They've got. I go by there I take my son to a pump track over there, but we walk right past this little spot that's got rails, that's got a little ramp, not a big pool or not a bowl, but I understand that there is sound. So I'm not going to dismiss this completely, but I do have to say that the skate features they make noise. I can't say that the Glen Park used to have this Gus Macker tournament at Glen Park, 3-on-3, and back in high school, and there was music, there was noise, there was basketball players, and that probably lasted maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe that's from what I can remember. But it's kind of the same thing. It is a park that's used. It is a park that I understand that the gentleman Doug. I've heard many stories about him. I've heard him talked about when here since in City Hall. The noise it's part of the park, but I just want to like group all these skateboarders as these noisemakers, and it's going to be this thing. And I know that that's a generalization. I know that's not what you guys are saying. What everybody's saying is that it's going to be this blight on the neighborhood, because I don't really believe that. But I do also understand that it is a small park, and I do understand that the people around it probably don't want to hear that. But I don't think it's any louder, and I'm sure there's going to be restrictions if there was one on time. There's no lights at Glen Park for nighttime basketball. It gets dark, it's done. So I guess like I said, I don't know if this is the right spot, but I think to what we've set up here already, we've heard everybody and we're listening to you. This wasn't the end-all be-all tonight. I had a council initiated item for a fire station in Olivenheim, and we had a CPP last night, and I guess that's how as you put these things out there, there's so many steps before it even gets to where you want it to be. So yes, there was no community engagement or reach out ahead of time, but it happens as the process moves. So just so you guys know, it's not like we were trying to, or Luke was trying to silence anybody and just put this through. It's just the motion of how things go up here. It seemed like I don't want to dismiss what Joy said, because we don't want to lose your trust. We are here for you, 100%. And so I'm glad that we had so much community engagement. We had so many people write in. We had so many great speakers today. So we have heard you, and we'll take that into account. And I know that the council members up here are all listening. So I'll rest.
Okay, Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you, Mayor. And so to kind of bring it back again, this was the community initial getting it out to the community. What Councilmember San Antonio just said, this is a way to get the ball rolling, see where we go from here. And obviously we have an initial community involvement on emails and people coming in to speak. I don't want to be the guy to point out that Cardiff has multiple other green features. It's just not in your part of Cardiff, right? ECP is in Cardiff. So is Cardiff Sports Park. It's all green. So the fact is, those are Cardiff. Lake Fields, that's in Cardiff, right? And ECP is all, besides the skate park, it's all green. It's all that. Again, most of my best friends went to Cardiff Elementary, went to Ada Harris, and come over there, and we'd go surf in the morning, and we'd go skate Glen Park, the Glen Gutter, and the Cardiff Trench. The Cardiff Trench is now where the San Eleo JPA exists. It doesn't exist anymore because everybody had to go find a place to go skate. But because cities like ours actually put in skateboard features. People don't go to parking lots at a grocery store to skateboard anymore. They don't go skating down Glen Park through the park. And again, the Marassi, I've been to your guys' house. You probably don't know, Michelle, your daughter, I knew her in high school. Like, the understanding, like, I know, I get the value of keeping it small and quaint, and it's become a lot more quiet in the more recent years. But again, if you go to Lucadia Oaks, just go sit there for 15, 20 minutes, and you'll see the range of ages. Again, these gentlemen here are skate Hall of Famers. They're 61 years old, still skating in bowls. They're still bringing it. And then right next to them is a 7-year-old. I mean, I don't know, besides surfing, there's not many sports, maybe pickleball nowadays, that bridge the gap of age, right? You don't see a lot of 61-year-olds playing baseball. I mean, they're coaching maybe, but actually playing with 7-year-olds. You just don't. You go to Olympus Park. That was a community park. It doesn't have a bathroom. It doesn't have any parking. And since it opened up just after COVID, guess what? The zip line brought people from all over the county. They looked it up on their little app because everything that's internet-based there's no longer secret spots. All the surf spots, all of the stuff has been found out. If you want to live in a little corner, you're going to have to go outside of Encinitas or outside of this beloved coastline. It just doesn't exist. Not here, not anymore. And again, if we could get in Marty McFly's time machine and go back to 1985, like, sign me up. It's not happening. And so to start involving the different parks and the different features and to put a small skate feature in a park like this, it exists. You just heard about basketball tournaments. You guys talk about kids having daycare there. What do you think those kids are going to do when they look over and they see an Olympian doing a cool thing on a skate park? And most of these, if you go by these skate parks, they're not as loud as you might think. They just aren't. They do carry noise. They're just like anything else, but it's not any louder than a bunch of 10-year-olds screaming their heads for 3 hours in the middle of the day. It's just not. So I don't think that it's far-fetched to get the staff to look into it and have a CPP. And to go through the community and have a conversation about this. And we might find out some stuff. We might learn some stuff that this isn't the right park. That's fine. I'm not here to be right or wrong. I'm here to introduce it to the community and have the community talk about it. But let's not just talk one direction, that it's the end-all be-all of Glen Park. It's evolved as the oldest park in our city through the years. And it'll continue to evolve. And so will we. And so we have to. I came in here 2018 because I have 134 units going directly behind my house. And so the reason I didn't bring Councilmember Lyons into this because of this thing called the Brown Act. I can't speak to anybody else after I've spoken to one other council member. So I didn't ignore you. I just can't legally do anything about it. And so you and I communicated about it. And then when you talked about Viewpoint Park, that was my idea. Right? I'm not here to the Hippie Hill or Surfers Point at the north end up in Lucadia. I think all of our parks, just like a basketball court, just like a tennis court, just like all of the other courts that have been included in parks throughout the world, skating is here to stay. It's not going away. And so I think it's start to evolve the time where skating is a part of it. That's my perspective. And so I was willing to give these guys a chance to bring it in, and I think that we should roll it forward. I think we should get and so I will motion to approve the staff to look into it. I will motion.
We have a motion and a second on the table.
That's for an agendized item.
I know. Let's take care of the motion in front of us, unless you're doing a substitute motion.
That motion is like Ajit said, right?
Just from a parliamentary procedure, I
Separate
believe we
motion.
have to, a separate motion, we have to take care of the one on the floor, right?
We have a separate motion that's been seconded at this point.
Yeah.
So we should vote on that at this point. I know that Councilmember Schaefer may have a motion after that he can still bring at that point if he wants to.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's not a substitute motion, it's a separate motion.
It will be a separate motion. You can only have one motion on the table at a time unless it's a substitute motion, in which case you then replace it. But you don't want to replace it, so hold your motion for a minute. Let's finish the discussion on the motion on the table, and then we'll come back to you.
Well, I'm going to stay with the agendized item, and then the motion, we didn't switch over to the new motion.
No, we're on the new motion. The motion's on the table right now, so it's the topic of discussion right now.
Okay.
Yeah, you just hold your thought. You'll have a chance. You'll be able to do it. So with that, I'll hop in. I want to make it clear that this is not a stereotype issue at all. I support. I've been talking. I was the one that initially talked to Barry and Dave and a bunch of the other guys and said, "Yeah, this is a cool idea." At that time we were not talking about Glen Park at all. And I just do not think this is appropriate because of the acoustics primarily, but also because of how packed in it is. I just don't see it in the future. Also, the fact that it's so close to Poods. So with that, I would like to make offer a substitute motion or a friendly amendment. What I understand the current motion is to
Read it back?
Yeah, would you? That'd be great.
It's to direct staff to agendize an item for May 13th, 2026, to explore the feasibility of the creation of a skate initiative comprised of community members and city staff to identify potential locations throughout the city.
Okay. And I like that idea, but I would like to add one more concept, and that is pickleball. Because I think as many people as I have that are skateboard fanatics, we have pickleball fanatics too, and probably an order of magnitude more.
I'm not going to accept that amendment.
Okay.
I think that's a separate discussion. We're not talking about pickleball in this discussion at all, and you're adding it in. This is originally about a skatebowl at Glen Park, and I'm staying on the topic of.
Okay. No,
addressing that
I'm
concern.
it, and that's
I
fine.
think it's something we could look at in the future on a different agenda, maybe on the 5th of May or something like that.
Yeah, I just, because ultimately it's going to come down to resources and money, and where do we put money on skateboard? Do we put money on pickleball? And where do we put staff resources? So with that, I will not be supporting this because I think we need to look at the bigger picture, and this is a want to have, not a need to have. So with that, I will yield to Deputy Mayor O'Hara.
I've spoke about the motions on the table. I actually want to speak about something else on this. So I think unless
Can I call the question then, if you're waiting? You don't have anything more on them. Okay, so let's call the question.
So was everyone in concurrence on what I read?
Yes, your motion.
Okay.
Your motion, yeah.
That motion carries 4-1 with Mayor Ehlers voting no.
Okay, so we move to the next.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to acknowledge something that I heard up here that I think is completely inaccurate and sheds a bad light. I'm not going as far as say it was on purpose, but I think that it should have been known. I don't think this was done at a loss of trust. I don't think anybody was out to give you a gotcha moment. That's when something gets built in your backyard and you didn't have any say in it, or you find out council members who were involved in it voted on it. Those are loss of trust. This has been a great opportunity. A council member brought an item forward, and the community responded with their interest level. We've had a conversation, and we're evolving it into a bigger conversation. That's how this process works. And I'm really proud that this happened this way. I'm glad that we listened to the residents, and we're coming out with something that addresses the concerns. I think that's what this process is. So there shouldn't be a loss of trust, and it shouldn't be coming from up here that we think we created a loss of trust, because I don't think that's at all what happened. And I think it's sad to see a council member saying that we are creating a loss of trust when they know that they're aware of the rules that exist up here in the Brown Act and all the other things that go around with that.
And then Councilmember Schaefer.
Yeah. So just going back to that point, is I do think that this is a great site, a great location. I do think it actually advances the park. I think that there's, like I said, you've had skateboarders in that park for decades. They've already skated that trench. I was. That's my point.
No. You have to be quiet. This is our deliberation. Please
and that's
stay
the
in
point.
order.
The
Otherwise,
city
I'll have to eject you.
The city is evolving. It's always evolving, and so it's evolved in this direction. I think that just like we put in kid features to climb and whatnot, there's an age where kids leave that, and it's one of the most athletic things you can do. the balance, the strength, the coordination. It is one of the greatest things you can do athletically. And so why would we put in a basketball court, a tennis court, all of the playing features, and not have some kind of skate feature, especially as one of the skate capitals of the world? Right now we have 7 of the top 10 skaters in the world that live here. It's kind of a moot point. I think and to hear it from the community, I didn't see one. I mean, I don't think I saw one person under the age of 50 in here. One gentleman. And I can see that we're probably in the same distance from 50. But the point is that there's a lot more conversation. That's what this was about, was starting the conversation. And that's all it is. And I know that there's obviously a strong cohort that showed up here tonight to talk against this. So I'm going to still make a motion to approve, to look into Glen Park directly, not to derail what we're going to maybe talk about then. And if at that point we decide something then we decide something then differently. And we'll just either incorporate this or unincorporate it. But between now and May 13th, we don't know where the direction goes. So I'm going to move to approve the staff to research and start the community outreach and start all of the things that need to take place to start looking at Glen Park, whether it's a feasible spot or not. So,
Deputy Mayor O'Hara.
I see Councilmember Lyons on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Councilmember Lyons. I was thinking
Since I was called out, I'll just quickly correct that I was reflecting that the community told me that they were shocked by this proposal because they hadn't heard of it before now. And and I was told that gave them a lack of trust. But that, as Mayor Ehlers says, a council member initiated item can come forward without any prior work and without staff giving any input, and that's what happened here. Right, I know that.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound different.
She's got the floor. Let her finish. And if you want to speak, go ahead and punch in.
Yes, you can talk to one other council member when you put forward a council member initiated item, and I was not chosen to be that council member, so I just want to call it out.
Okay, and Deputy Mayor O'Hara.
Okay. I'm not gonna second the motion, but I don't want this conversation, which is what we've created in the entire community, to stop. I think this is a conversation to look at what are the challenges, because the conversation is going to repeat itself all over the place, wherever you go, right? And how do we address this conversation in a way that's positive and proactive, really? And so I think it'll come back when we talk about the skating initiative. And I don't think that anything will be off the table at that point. And what I really think we have the potential to do here, which is always what's the opportunity, right, in the conversation? What is the opportunity for us to move this, to move for the betterment of the city, right? The potential is the conversation we have out here comes out to like a situation where the skate community says, wow, we never thought of that. Because somebody in this room says, hey, have you thought about this? Or have you looked at that? Or I had this idea once and I thought about kicking it down the road, but I didn't think anybody was really interested. I didn't know you were here. What do you guys think? I think that's where we go from here. This shouldn't be a us versus them, skaters versus the community thing. This should be, how do we all improve the community together? And this is a great started conversation. We've addressed a lot of topics and that tend to be across the board challenging in this discussion, but we also recognize the value of it to our community. And I think within that, we have a road and an opportunity to move forward. And so I hope everybody here continues this conversation. Everybody up here hopefully does as well. I'll rest with that. Thank you.
Okay, and you withdrew. So, okay, I was going to, if there's no other comments, call the question. I think what the motion, it was.
I don't think there was a second.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to verify we didn't get a second, so it dies for lack of a second. I just wanted to make sure everybody had a chance if they wanted to punch in with a second. So with that, I don't think we have any other business on this item. Is that correct? And I would like to add one comment that I do believe we'll have this conversation on May 13th, so mark your calendars. That's
First Wednesday, or the
yeah,
second Wednesday.
that's the most likely date. I don't think that's date certain per se. That is the likely scheduled date based on the city manager's estimate of our workload. So with that, I think we will move on to item 13. Is there anything?
Can I pipe in one thing?
Oh, wait.
One second.
No, actually not. The public input, yeah. You can talk,
So-
you can talk, hang on one second. You can talk to us after the meeting, which should be pretty darn quick. And so, dude, talk to us afterwards. I'm not sure I know, but let's finish our business so everybody can go home.
I just wanted to ask the city manager and mayor to look over upcoming agendas and see what we could move to the 13th and in place of this and move this forward.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I can already tell you we've got the STVR, or I'll actually tell you what we have, because we've got the STVR ordinance.
Well, tell you what, let's do it offline.
Okay.
See if there
I'm
is
just like,
anything.
and a couple things, Solana Beach
That's good
Crossing.
advice. That's good advice, because we can move things around generally, but maybe not. So, but I don't know the answer yet. Okay, so with that, I have no further, so we'll move on from, that's item 12. We'll move on to item 13, which is AB 123 reports, 1234 reports. We'll start down at the far end.
I have a couple things to report. On March 27th, I attended the Sandag Board meeting as the representative from the San Diego County Water Authority. Also that same day, later in the day, I attended the Sandag Transportation Committee meeting as the alternate to Chair Zito. Nothing specific to report from either of those. General information, I went on the San Diego Rescue Mission ride-along on March 30th, and I attended a Scripps Hospital Phase 1 tour on the 6th of April, and I can announce that everything going as planned. They should be open and ready to take patients with staffing by May 20th.
Wow.
I attended the San Diego Community Power meeting. Nothing really much to report. We're about to fill one of our community advisor committee spots, but we are about to lose one, just terming out. So if anybody's interested, we do need one more. You can reach out to me if you'd like to find more about it. I also attended. I'll let Deputy Mayor talk about what we did, but the four of us went to the Badger plant for their solar plant or solar. Anyways, I'll let you
Dedication. Ribbon cutting. Ribbon cutting.
Yeah. So that's all I was going to say. We attended the ribbon cutting at the Badger treatment plant, where they're now going to be providing 600 kilowatts of basically reusable energy, enhancing just yet again and showing just how well the water districts in our community and surrounding communities work. So a great job by them over there with ESOM and Al over there at Santa Fe Irrigation District. So.
And as you heard, I attended the ribbon cutting of the solar array at the Badger treatment plant. It's a great example, and I love my water boards. They're the best. They're something everyone should look into water boards and see how efficiently government can run when it's running well. And this project itself is the epitome of how government agencies should collaborate together. The San Diego and Santa Fe Irrigation Water District coming together to put on this project and provide us with a whole bunch of benefits and getting our water to us clean and safely. Great, huge shout out to ESOM, our director here at the San Diego Water District and in the city, and all of our staff.
Okay, and I attended 4 meetings if I count the ribbon cutting. The first was the March 27th Sandag Board of Directors meeting, and there was some interesting commentary during oral comments amongst the elected officials. There was exchange about AB 1557, so it's something I think we ought to look into. This is addressing limiting e-bikes to reduce their power below 250 watts and reduce their speeds under 16 miles per hour. Mayor Minto from, I think it's Santee, supported it, but then Councilmember Gasterlin from Del Mar said they had looked at it and they decided to I think I got that actually backwards. one opposed and one supported. So I think it's an interesting one that we should look at. I would love to get information to the council so we understand what AB 1557 is doing and whether it's good or bad. Lisa Hebner, the chair of SANDAG, referred it to the executive committee, so they'll be following up and having a discussion about it there. The initial draft budget for SANDAG, about $1.2 billion, and that includes partially the Transnet funding from the gas tax, was adopted unanimously, and that'll go through and ultimately be adopted in a final form. On the 4th of April, I attended as alternate for the Regional Solid Waste, what's the A? Whatever it is, authority, yeah. As I'm the alternate, and I don't know if you've heard, but you got reappointed again. This is what he gets for not showing up. I reappointed him as treasurer, or I should said I voted, this time I voted to make you treasurer with, and so no change in the executive board. One thing to note is they rotate which member group does the financials, and this year, going into the new fiscal year, our finance group will be taking that over. They're all prepared and ready. The last one was not a meeting, but it was an announcement that came out from Mario Orsa, who's the CEO of SANDAG, and it was very, very good news. SANDAG received an, quote, unmodified audit opinion for the fiscal year that ended this last June 30th, marking a significant advancement from the modified audit opinions received in both fiscal years 23 and 24. For those of you not familiar with audit terminology, and I have two CPAs in the family, so we talk about this, unmodified opinion is the best outcome because it means they didn't find any major findings. Mario Orsa, SANDAG's relatively new CEO, said it best, quote, "This is an important milestone that reflects the organization's commitment to strong financial stewardship and continued improvement of internal controls." So it's a new era in SANDAG. It's painful getting through what we've been getting through, but I'm really happy that they got this. This is real results, so that's good. With that, we'll go to City Manager report.
Thank you. So we did have an immigration enforcement incident on March 31st at around 4 o'clock between the 300 and 400 block of North Vulcan Avenue. This was done, we received confirmation from CBP that the incident did occur, and that is the Border Patrol. While they were out on patrol, this was not a planned operation. The agents encountered two individuals and determined they were in the country illegally. As a result, both were apprehended and transported for processing. We went ahead and, as our protocol, we went ahead and put in a FOIA. We also asked for an after-action report from CBP, and we have updated our website with that. This Monday, Deputy City Manager Mike James and I met with Patrick Diver. He is the Field Office Director of ICE Enforcement and Removal Operations. So we did talk to Patrick about our expectations about getting any type of advance notice if there's going to be operations within the city, asking for after-action reports, making sure that the communication is open. He was very willing to do that. He talked about some things that they're doing in their office, again, with the ICE locator, how people can find anybody that might have been apprehended. Talked a little bit. One interesting thing that he talked about, there's some information out there about whether they have to have warrants or not, and he said they do not. They are just like the police. They do not have to have a warrant. They do not have to show it. And they have the ability to enter different property without warrants. So that was one of the questions that I did ask, because I know there's some different information out there. But he is willing to, cooperate. He's been willing to take calls. He did tell us that there's information he cannot necessarily release to us, but he'll release what he can. So I appreciate the meeting that Deputy City Manager James set up, and we did meet with him. Wanted to let you folks know that on March 23rd, it was 3/18, the Sheriff's Department conducted yet another monthly traffic detail. So this time they actually ended up issuing 100 citations this time. So we had 15 for speeding, 20 again for cell phone use, 33 for stop signs, 3 for red lights. There was 21 fix-it citations, so that might be window tinting registration, and 8 for other vehicle codes. We had 21 parking citations and 1 vehicle towed. So they are continuing to do their monthly sheriff patrol. Unfortunately, it looks like we might have went up from last time. It looks like stop signs is the big one. So again, just asking everybody, we have traffic laws for a reason, and they keep people safe, whether you're a pedestrian, a bicyclist, or a motorist. So please drive safely and obey traffic laws here in the city of Encinitas. And last up, we have our free universal waste collection event that's happening this Saturday, which is the 11th of April from 9 to 1 right here at City Hall. Encinitas residents can safely dispose of batteries, bulbs, electronics, and sharps at our free universal event. Please bring proof of residency, such as your driver's license or utility bill for the drive-up event. And if you have any questions, you can call 760-633-2777. And just lastly, just wanted to thank the Park and Rec Department for an amazing event for the egg hunt. Also, thank you to all of the council members. Everyone was there to start an egg hunt, so it was great. We also want to thank Gabby Love and her volunteers from Maricosta as well, and all the kids. And thank you for all the participants coming. It was a great event.
Yeah, 45 volunteers from her group. So, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
City Clerk. And with that, we are adjourned. Time is it? 9:28.